I had this man I met on Instagram, and so we talked for a little bit. I invited him over to my house. Given this is the first time I've ever met this man, and he was like 0 to 100. Like at this point, I was getting the vibe where I'm like, I'm getting the ick. And then out of nowhere, he's like, I have this condition I need to tell you about.
What? We're doing the thing. Stevie, how the hell are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm doing okay.
Just okay?
Yeah. It's been a struggle lately.
Oh no, what's been going on?
We're keeping it lighthearted, but unfortunately, I was supposed to see you, or I was supposed to come on the podcast, I think a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. It was actually almost exactly a month ago.
Yeah, and unfortunately, my pet lizard passed away.
Oh no.
Yeah, my bearded dragon. He had gout. So, yeah. We were expecting it, but it just it was like a matter of time thing, and it just happened out of nowhere. And I was like, oh,
Aw.
I need a minute to sit with this.
I thought the point of getting reptiles is they're supposed to outlive us.
You would think, right?
Yeah.
But no, he got very sick, and then he actually lived longer than we thought he was gonna live. But then it just was like one day. I think it was the day I was supposed to come on, right?
Yeah. Or like the night before.
I woke up and he just wasn't doing very well, and I'm like, if I leave, he's probably not gonna be alive when I get back. So I should probably spend some moments with him.
You could have just brought him to the show.
Yeah.
That would have been an episode first, like a podcast first.
Yeah, it would have been so sad though.
Yeah. I don't always handle death in the most mature ways either. You probably made the right call.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna sit with this one. We'll reschedule. I'll come back. But
Yeah.
now I'm here. Other than that, I've been doing okay.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
How was your convention season?
Oh man, I got sick, as I'm sure everyone or most people do.
Yeah.
The avian flu was definitely going around, but before then, I had a tooth infection / the flu at the same time. I know it was double whammy. Got over that, went into convention season, and then directly during avian, I got a stomach bug. So I was like,
I'm not sure I should have you in my house now.
someone's out to get me.
I feel like you might just be Typhoid Mary here, and I am just risking some sort of horrible infection by having you breathe the same air as me.
I am a small human, and I get sick very easily. I am feeble. So I don't know if it's me or if it's just that I'm feeble.
Well,
So you're probably safe.
maybe. Time will tell, folks.
We'll see. Let's see in a week or two if you come back sick.
I'll cancel all next week's shows. Like, Stevie just got me.
I gotcha.
Brought the plague into my home.
Yes. Knowingly. No, I would never do that for the record.
Right. Like, nobody wants to be patient zero. No.
No, for any friends or fans or companies, I will not get anyone sick, okay?
Not intentionally.
Not intentionally.
The human condition sometimes says otherwise, but that's beyond your control.
Absolutely. That'd be really fucked up. I don't know if I could ever do that. Like, if I was, knowingly sick with something.
It's crazy
You know.
because, especially back in the day, some of the agents would tell people, pre-COVID, to show up on set sick and, let the director send them home instead of, doing the last-minute cancellation.
Right.
Because they're like, oh, well, you don't want the director to think that you're just flaking.
Exactly.
And it's like, in the post-COVID world, you can't do that shit.
Yeah, you absolutely can't. I mean, I've known, I don't know if I'm busting open the glass ceiling or whatever, but a large number of people in general and a large number of people in the industry have herpes.
Oh, we've talked about that on air.
Yeah, plot twist. I'm sure people know, but I have.
They don't.
I mean, most normal people don't. But.
Yeah, most people. No. It's one of those things that has been talked about on here multiple times, and I just assume everyone knows about the herpes and HPV not being tested for, but
People don't.
people don't. I mean, to throw back to something that happened recently, I posted a clip where someone said civilian, and the whole internet's like, "How dare they call civilians?" Like, oh, you guys don't know that we do that?
I call them normies.
Yeah.
So
That too. But I didn't mean to derail you, as you were saying.
No, you're fine. But I had some friends who were like having an outbreak, which if you don't have it or you don't know, like you can't. The only time you can really give it to someone is if you're having an outbreak. So like you tend to have to take off time from work until it's gone, and you can go back to work. But I do have some friends who were told by agents that just put some makeup on it, go to work. And it's like, that's so fucked up. Like you're like knowingly giving someone an STD. Like that's not cool, man. Like
Well, in the agent's mind, I'm sure they're just like, but I miss out on my fee if you fucking cancel.
exactly. Like that's all it really comes down to. It's like I want what I'm due. It's like I booked this for you. I want my fee, whatever. But it's like I don't think I could morally ever do that. I'm like I gave this to someone for life. Like this is never going to be cured.
That
And now
is,
you have to deal with it.
and they're
Like,
probably like, you know, made $500 that day to catch it.
right. It's like, no, you're welcome. You have this lifelong disease. Like, it sucks.
Yeah.
It's terrible. No one should ever do that.
It's unfortunately the nature of the biz.
Yeah, unfortunately.
You shouldn't do that knowingly, but it's just also like kind of like being a stunt person. Like
Yeah.
when you go to do work in stunts, you may get injured. Like it's part of the job.
True. I mean, and like less as what's the word? I guess less serious is like giving someone an STD. That is definitely a part of the job. Like you have to think of the fact that you might catch chlamydia or you might catch Mgen at some point because of certain situations. So it's like nature of the beast.
What's wild is Mgen's been around since the 80s, and we just didn't ever talk about it, apparently.
Right. We never talked about it.
Yeah, it was just never a thing. Like, how many people over the years like had Mgen, went about their life?
Yeah, because it's like the type of thing where it's like unless you have like active symptoms, you'll never know, really, like
Well,
the normal person.
but it's also like, since it wasn't part of the standard panel, even if you're symptomatic and didn't come back positive with anything else, like
Right.
people would probably just be like, "Oh, I'm just having a bad period," or "I'm just having whatever." Like my body's being weird.
Exactly. Like, as I know, I mean, just speaking from a woman's perspective, like a lot of women who have gotten it and it got to the point where it was like bad enough to like get symptoms. And they're like, it just feels like a really bad period. And it's like, how do you tell that from your period or Mgen?
Right.
That's when it's like crossing. It's like you don't know. And that's what's scary about a lot of these STIs and STDs. They have like a lot of the same symptoms. But yeah, Mgen has been horrific. Like them adding it, in my personal opinion, like them adding it to like the full panel test was a mistake because it's hard to test for. So it's
hard to test for, and the testing just not really on the same page, especially in recent years with like fucking TTS and all the other testing. Like they're not even really fully reporting to the PASS system in all cases. Like testing's just been a
right.
fucking mess in the last couple of years.
Oh, it really has been. Because I know, like, specifically with the Mgen thing, I have a lot of friends where they just like, I feel like they haven't quite nailed down how to properly test for it. So, like, specifically, if I'm talking about my partner who's also in the industry, he keeps getting false positives. I have never once tested positive for it, and we have a regular sex life. So, you would think, plot twist,
Right?
if he has it, I would probably have it too, but I have never come back positive. So, it's like, there's obviously something incorrect here.
Definitely.
Yeah. There was even one time he was so upset. He was like, because he tested positive for it and I didn't. He was like, I'm going to go to one testing facility. I'm going to test. And then within the same day, I'm going to like drink water, eat dinner, whatever, and then go back to a different testing facility and test for it and see if they both come back positive, they both come back negative. One's positive, one's negative. One came back positive, one came back negative. From two different facilities. So it's like, if that's what we're getting to rely on for like safely working, we should probably figure that out.
I wholly agree. I wholly agree. I also have been a little critical about the anal swabs. Not that like the swabs shouldn't be done. They shouldn't be self-administered.
Oh, absolutely not.
Like none of us are medical professionals. I don't know why I'm saying I don't get fucking full panel tested except around convention season just to be like, I'm down to party. I'm not a performer.
Right. Exactly.
But I mean, I get tested regularly, just not the full panel. But the idea of like, boop, you can't see it. You're not a medical professional. Like, how many false negatives or false positives are coming from people poorly administering the test to themselves?
Oh, absolutely. Like I've known some, like, during when they started like adding that to the full panel test. I knew some friends who were like, some of them not even doing it and saying they were doing it, like putting it up there and just saying like I did it, but they just really didn't want to stick a swab up there, so they just like pretended and then like,
That's horrible.
here's your sample, which is fucked.
Yeah.
I am no longer friends with those people anymore. But and I know people who are doing it completely wrong, like not sticking the swab in far enough, not doing enough circles, like whatever the case may be. But like, it's just there's too much room for inaccuracies. So
Yeah.
it's like I definitely agree with you. I feel like someone else should be doing it. Like,
And I feel bad because no one at TTS is being paid enough to like swab everyone's asshole. But
that's true.
but none of us are medical professionals. Like,
No.
it was bad enough when we had to swab ourselves for COVID. Like, how many people gave themselves false negatives there because they didn't get it up there enough? And you can at least like kind of gauge your nose.
Right.
People have hungry assholes. Like, swallow the whole fucking thing.
Sure. Oh my gosh. And I always feel so bad. I told you I'm an open book. I'm going to talk about anything, but this is going to get gross. I always feel bad when you swab and it's not clean. I feel so terrible. I like immediately think, I'm so sorry for whoever is testing this. Like, there's shit all over it. I'm so sorry. Like, I feel so bad. I'm sure they're just like, this is another day in the office. What?
Oh, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. It could be a lot worse. It could be like legit stool samples. I've had digestive issues in my life, and like,
Yeah.
I've had to give like legit stool samples before, and it was like, put this little bowl in the bowl, catch a shit, and then take a little spoon and spoon it out of the bowl into the testing cup.
For real?
For real.
Oh my god.
And then here's a testing cup of my shit. Enjoy. So, yeah, a little poopy
Oh my
Q-tips
gosh.
probably not the worst thing they have to deal with in a lab.
Considering, yeah. Actually, now that I think about it, I have never had to do that before. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Tons.
I have known my mom had to end up, I think, doing something similar, but she had to keep it in the fridge.
I don't know if I was supposed to. Like, I wasn't putting it in the fridge. I'm just like, I'm sealing it in the bag, and as soon as I can get this to the doctor, this is going to the doctor.
Yeah, like as soon as possible.
Right? Like, no, I'm not storing my shit overnight. Like, I'm just...
You're taking it.
Yeah, I did it for like first thing in the morning, scooped, bucket. I'm like, okay, and now I'm driving this to the fucking lab.
Yeah. No, I think if I can remember correctly, because I was really young, but she had to collect a few days worth. And she's like, they told me to keep it in the fridge, so don't open these containers, but it was gross.
Yeah, it's a little gross.
A little weird. I don't want that around my food. You know? Like,
No. I don't care if it's like in a container, in a sealed bag, in another sealed bag. No.
like nowhere near it.
Right.
Please.
Yeah, it was... Jesus, that had to have been over 10 years. No, that was 20 years ago at this point. Yeah, I was in my 20s, so...
Did you end up getting diagnosed with anything?
Oh, yeah, I got diagnosed with Crohn's, so...
Damn, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. My body hates me. It's fine.
I feel that.
I've been in remission forever. Like, every once in a while, like, I'll eat something and my body's like, you know you got an autoimmune disease, dog. What are you doing? And it's like, oh, I will be going to the bathroom now.
Right now.
But it was a mild case I was diagnosed with, and I'm like, in retrospect, I'm like, I'd hate to think what a serious case was.
Right. Considering like what you're dealing with.
Yeah, like it was bad because there'd just be like times it was like, oh, I just need to go shit now, like
Right.
extreme pain now. And then when it came out, it was like, oh, it feels like I am shitting like fucking pebbles. Like,
oh my god.
it'd be a solid thing, but like the it's just like,
just hurt.
yeah, just pain. Like, welcome to the podcast, folks. Like,
yes.
you're like, oh, Stevie's gonna be all cute and fun, and like we're just breaking out with painful shits like 10 minutes into the show.
Yeah, you know, we're talking about how testing standards should be better and painful poops.
And if you're furiously beating off to this, more power to you.
Yeah. Don't know what you expected.
I mean, if they're my regular audience, they're like, yeah, this is par for the fucking course. But they're here for just you. They're like, but the last interview, she got naked 3 minutes in.
Yeah.
Like she was spread eagle 3 minutes into the interview. Like what's happening here? She's keeping her clothes on and talking about poop.
Sorry, kids.
Sorry, kids. Much more of this to come.
Yes, definitely. I was actually going to talk about pee next, so stick around for that.
We're gonna catch all the fluids, all the fluids on this episode.
All of them.
The all fluid spectacular, and now we drink.
There you go. That's
Cheers, by the way.
the title. Cheers. And that's it. Cutscene.
Real short episode. Thank you for coming all the way down here.
Oh, of course.
In and out in 15 minutes. Just we covered all the fluids. There's something else to talk about.
That's all we got to talk about.
So pee.
Yes. I was actually going to add on to the autoimmune disease conversation.
Oh.
I have one myself.
I'm sorry.
Yes. I always butcher this, so I'll do my best. But I have interstitial cystitis, which is a bladder condition. It just essentially causes your bladder to be like inflamed 24/7.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it's a good time. It just pretty much makes you feel like you have to pee all the time. So like when you have like a really full bladder, you just feel like that a lot.
So we're just constantly running to the bathroom to.
Yes, even though like you don't have to pee. Like you'll like, for instance, go sit down. Like I really have to pee. Like this feels like the most full bladder I've ever had in my entire life. This is like a little dribble. That's it.
Do you ever accidentally pee yourself over it sometimes?
I have. Yes. Because it's like, it feels like you really have to go, but there's like, just due to like the bladder condition, you don't. How I actually discovered I had it was I kept going to the doctor thinking I had UTIs, which is like an infection in your urethra and in your bladder and stuff. It was just very painful. I had to pee 24/7. Sometimes there was even blood. I'm like, I'm gonna go to the doctor. And then like the first couple times they prescribe me medication, it would go away for like a month and then come back. I'm like, what is going on? And then I finally saw, can't think of the name right now, but like a bladder specialist. He's like, okay, so we're gonna look inside your bladder and see what's going on. And then he looked inside and he's like, sure as shit, you have this autoimmune disease where it's like your bladder is just swollen and inflamed all the time. So luckily, I've been diagnosed for a few years, and like the bouts of it aren't as bad. It's like kind of in remission at this point, but I do get flare-ups every now and again, and those aren't fun.
Isn't it so much fun when your body's just like, yep, I don't like you, man. I'm gonna fuck you up.
Yeah, it feels like it's different. Like it's definitely targeted for sure. It's like, how does my own body not like me? That's what I mean when I'm feeble. I'm like, I'm just like falling apart.
That's miserable. Like, because anything that has to do with your bladder UTI is just fucking miserable. Like,
Yeah.
the one time I got chlamydia, like, I, being a stubborn dude, thought I had a UTI. I just tried to drown it in cranberry juice. I was just like, I'll be good. I'm just peeing a lot. And like, it didn't, it was like, it was uncomfortable to pee, but it didn't like hurt to pee. And I was just pissing all the time. I'm like, oh, I must have got a UTI. I must have got a
Right.
UTI. Because at the time, like the only person I was only banging one person. It was established non-monogamous, no big deal. But the
Right.
rules were we're using condoms with other people.
Makes sense. Right.
Yeah, apparently that wasn't
It wasn't the case.
the case. And I wasn't even upset that she gave it to me. It was established non-monogamous. I was just pissed off that she took no ownership in the situation.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. Like I would always own up to that. Like, I am so sorry I gave this to you, but I stepped outside the bounds of our boundaries.
Right.
And I'm a terrible person. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what to say.
Like, well, and like we had kind of stopped seeing each other at the, like, it was the last time we hooked up is when it happened.
Got you.
She was upset with me because like I had moved an ex-girlfriend back in. But I, like, it was a lot of drama. But I had not actually slept with the ex-girlfriend. She was just staying with
She's
me.
just staying with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was not happy about that nonetheless.
Oh no.
But like we went and hooked up like one last time, and that's when I got it.
That's when it happened.
And when I like went, did the thing, eventually got tested, went, oh, you know, it's bad when like you give a urine sample and they're like, here's your antibiotics. Like they didn't even wait for the results. They're, just,
Oh no.
they're like, here you go. That don't look right. I'm like, oh, ooh. That's
That would not make me feel good. I'd be like, what are you trying to say? Like, can you wait for the test results to come back, please?
I'm just like, Man, I may have let this go a little too long. I mean, I let it go a couple weeks.
Oh, honey. Yeah, I'm sure it was not feeling good.
Me being a stubborn dude. This is how I'm going to die eventually. Like, I'm just going to be like, that ain't that bad. It's fine. It's fine. It'll clear up. It's fine. It's fine. And then just be like, dead.
Just keel over.
Just keel over.
Just keel over. You're just dead.
Yeah, just one of these days.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
I'm immortal so far. It's fine.
Yeah, I've been fine so far. I mean, that reminds me of a story I have of my brother. So I have an older brother and an older sister. But one time we were on vacation to Knott's Berry Farm, actually. It's when I was younger. But my brother, unbeknownst to us, had a UTI. And he just let it go, kind of like what you're explaining, for weeks. And it got to the point where we were sitting out on the couch in our little hotel, and he just walks out. He's like, I think I need to go to the emergency room. And we're like, why? He's like, I'm peeing blood. And it was like, really peeing blood. Not like just like a little sprinkle. It was like the toilet bowl was red.
He's like a Cannibal Corpse album cover at this point.
Yeah, I'm like, Michael, you need to go to the hospital right now. Like, what are you doing? So we took him, and they're like, this is like one of the worst UTIs we've ever seen. And we're like, okay. And they put him on some very intense drugs, and he is alive to this day. But yeah, men tend to do that.
Well, yeah, that is why statistically you all outlive us.
For real though, like, because the moment something feels off with me, I'm like, I'm going to the doctor.
I have women in my life like, dude, why are you not listening to your body? I'm like, it'll be fine. I mean, shortly, it must have been December. Like, I am just for like 2 weeks blowing like thick yellow snot, and I'm just like, it's just a cold. I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
Were
But
you fine?
I mean, I'm here.
Yeah.
I survived.
Yeah.
But eventually, there was a little blood in it. I'm like, okay, now it's time to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, dummy, yeah, here's your antibiotics. Like,
Yeah.
you stupid.
Kind of sick.
Yeah.
I take these.
Like, that is, your sinus cavity is just full of yellow mucus
What
right
did
now.
you have?
I don't know.
I don't remember. Some.
Well, they didn't diagnose it. They're just like, yeah, this is probably, if this has been going on for a couple weeks, you're probably beyond, common cold territory. Here's some antibiotics.
Yeah.
Because like it started like going to my chest where I was starting to cough shit up, and that's when I'm like, I've had walking pneumonia 3 times in my life. I probably don't want to do this again.
God, walking pneumonia?
Yeah, it's like super mild pneumonia. It's called the walking pneumonia because you can still walk.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Gosh.
It's not fun. Like, and 2 out of 3 times in my life were definitely because I just let other shit go until it got to that point.
Yeah.
Like one of the one time I got it as an adult was just like showed up to work, coughed up like bloody mucus. I'm like, I'm going home. I should have not even shown up today.
Yeah, I shouldn't be here.
I shouldn't be here right now.
Yeah.
But as I said, this is how I die. This is how I'm going. Like, I don't need a fortune teller. It's just going to be something that I let slide too long.
Rip Matt.
Yep.
We'll see what happens.
Either that or some poor woman is just going to be like, dummy, go now.
Yeah. I can hope so.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
But, chances are it will just be me not even saying shit to anybody.
Just ignoring it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm good.
It's like so many men in my life are like that. Like, again, my partner, he's super into snowboarding. And we live up in Big Bear, actually. And we drive down here for work. But he was like Olympic level, like snowboarder. Like he could have went pro if he wanted to. He just didn't enjoy it that much to like take it that far. So, but recently he was fucking around. There was a lot of powder, like some good snow on the ground, and he was doing flips and shit. And he took a jump, and when he came out of the jump, he was still 10 feet from the ground.
Oh no.
And did not fall well. And we found out like a day or two later that he cracked some ribs. And he still has not been to the doctor, and it's been weeks.
Oh, see, when you break shit, you gotta go because shit will heal back together wrong. Like, I have a pinky that's kind of broken, like kind of because I broke it at one point and it never got
you
set
just,
right.
You did, yeah.
Like shit heals back however it heals back. Like that's the kind of shit you really can't fuck around with.
What's really fucked up is like he's broken a lot of bones because he did do snowboarding and a bunch of sports when he was younger. So like the other side of his rib cage is all like fucked up and weird because he didn't go to the hospital. So I'm like, are you trying to do that to the other side?
He's just trying to match now.
Yeah, like, that's all you care about.
The doctor will fuck up like the fucking feng shui of his ribs if he goes now. I'm on his side now. Originally I was on your side.
Oh my gosh.
Now I'm on his side. You can't have like a pristine set and then a fucked set. You got to either go all in on fucked or all in on pristine.
Fair, you got to match.
Symmetry is important,
especially when it's in your body.
Right?
You break one foot, you got to break the other one. Like it's how it is.
I mean, if you set the first one correctly in the first place,
yeah,
then it's fine. But since he's already committed to having one fucked set.
Yeah. I mean, I see your point, but also he's like, it's to the point where he's like, I can't sleep on my back or my side because it hurts, and I can't, like, when I breathe out too far, like take 2 deep breaths, like it hurts, and I'm like, you go to the doctor.
So I think this is the strategy.
Okay.
You're gonna have to ride him real rough till he's falling over in pain, and then you're like, babe, do you want to go to the doctor now?
Yeah. Can you breathe still? No? Okay.
See? You're doing your part.
There you go. I like that strategy. I haven't tried that yet.
Because what dude's gonna be like, no, babe, it's like every dude's gonna try to like go through it. Like,
yeah. He's gonna let it happen.
Right.
So like I'm just gonna be real rough about it. That's how I get him to the doctor. I like that strategy.
I'm here to help.
Thank you.
He's gonna see this at some point and be like, the fuck? Y'all plotted this? This was premeditated?
Yeah. Fully planned.
Fully planned.
You can thank Matt.
If it helps, I'll take credit. If it doesn't, I will delete this from the show.
Yeah. There you go.
I had nothing to do with this. This is all Stevie's idea. Nope. Nothing to do with it.
I will do it too. He's done that with a lot of stuff. And I'm like, you just need to there's no shame in going to the doctor.
There's no shame in it, but there's also like plenty of denial that happens until the doctor tells you something's wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like, oh, no, I'm good. Like, I'm perfectly healthy. I'm fine. And then when you see a doctor, they're like, everything's wrong with you.
You're like, cool.
Why weren't you here 10 years ago? Like,
I was ignoring.
Right. I was just hoping that if I ignore it, it'll go away.
It didn't. It got worse.
Right. Because I didn't know. This is why we die significantly younger than y'all.
I mean, it makes sense. You just gotta listen to more women. That's all.
I regularly do. I had someone absolutely yell at me when I was like, I'm finally going to the fucking doctor. She's like, what's wrong with you? Why weren't, look, fuck, Matt.
You should have went a while ago.
You're a 42-year-old, at the time, a 42-year-old man. How the fuck are you letting this, it's worked this long? I mean, hell, even with the Crohn's thing, I put that off. Like, I had a couple months of like bloody, painful shits before I'm like, I should see a doctor.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this will clear up. Like, bloody, painful every time. I'm like, oh, you'll be fine.
Probably go.
Yeah.
And finally went, but it was really late.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. I'm just like, I'm too much of, I'm probably gonna butcher this word. It's when you're like
Hypochondriac?
Hypochondriac. I have a little bit of that because I've been sick so much in my life that immediately when something's wrong and I'm noticing it's wrong for like a little bit of time, I'm gonna Google it. I'm gonna figure it out. So like every single time I've had something wrong with me, I've had chronic bronchitis, I've had acute tonsillitis or chronic tonsillitis that didn't go away. I have the interstitial cystitis. I've diagnosed that before I've gone to the doctor every time because I need to know.
Oh, you got WebMD, just like fucking the minute you type web, it just WebMD pops up for you.
Yeah, it really does. And then like what's so concerning though is like anytime you Google like anything, it's like I'm having, I don't know, for instance, like hurts when I pee. There's a little bit of blood. I'm cramping. It like it's always the first thing, especially when you're like typing it in for being a woman. it comes up with like you have cancer or you're dying. Like every single time. It's like, why is that always the first answer?
Because it's probably true. Because it's probably you got cancer and you're dying.
And that's so concerning to me because I'm like, cancer runs in my family. So, like, do I have cancer right now? Should I be writing a will?
I mean, all reality, you probably should have a will.
Yeah.
It's really, really just, we're like, we're going to keep it light. Let's get into end of life plans.
We're talking about bodily juices and wills today.
Yeah, no, you 100% should have a living trust and a will. Also, giant hypocrite on this. I do not have either. Having to deal with my own father's like passing and him not having any fucking end of life plans, it's a fucking headache if you don't have that shit.
Yeah.
So you should do it. Once again, do as I say, not as I do. Go see your doctor.
Yeah.
Fucking have a will.
Yeah. The moment you break something, go to the doctor.
Yeah, because statistically, you're much more likely to die in a car accident than fucking anything else.
Oh, absolutely.
So you can't plan that shit.
I mean, you can do your best, but I mean, the best is having a will.
Yeah.
So
all I have is a life insurance policy slated for a really good party.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I have a $50,000 life insurance policy that is specifically for the open bar in my like funeral arrangements.
That's pretty great. I actually love that.
Well, just because I'm gone doesn't mean you people can't have a good time.
Yeah, you might as well have fun.
Right?
That's what I want to have. I'm like, I don't want my, like, of course it's gonna be sad because I'm dead, but like, have some fun. Like, don't make it all sad. Like, get drunk, have some fun, order my favorite food and eat it for me.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna be there, so might as well celebrate me.
If at least two separate couples don't bang at my funeral, something is wrong. Like, I need people raw dogging in the bathroom to celebrate my life.
Oh, absolutely.
It's what I would have wanted.
Yeah. I'm gonna be watching from wherever the fuck I am. So, like, might as well have fun for me.
Do you believe that, like, life after this?
I do, but I'm not religious. I don't really know where I fall in that spectrum. I wasn't raised religious per se. My parents were kind of just like, if you want to, we'll take you, but we're not going to force you. We're going to kind of like let you discover it yourself and then go from there.
What were they raised?
Christian.
Like non-denominational Protestant or?
I don't think so. They don't talk about it a whole lot. They were just kind of like, we went through this. It kind of sucked. So, like, we're not going to force our kids into it.
Hey, look at them breaking the cycles of generational trauma.
Yeah. So they're like, because, like, at that point, they weren't going to church regularly or anything like that, or praying or, like, doing any of the practices. They didn't teach us any of that. They were just like, if you want to know, we'll tell you. But that's about it. Like, cool. I'm glad you did it that way because I was able to discover it myself and make my own opinions on it.
Oh, and it's honestly the best way to go about it.
Absolutely. I agree.
I mean, I am very much an atheist and, almost an anti-theist at times.
What's that? Never heard that.
I'm pretty anti-organized religion.
Gotcha.
I fully recognize that all the major religions definitely served their purpose back in, like, the olden days.
Right.
But in modern times, they seem to be doing more harm than good. And that's across the board.
Right. I fully agree with you.
It's like, why are you going to pretend? Because almost nobody actually lives their life by all the rules set down in whatever their major religion is.
Oh, absolutely. They definitely don't.
Right. Like, why are you going to pretend to live by rules written by people who didn't even shit indoors?
For real, though. Like, it sounds like just like a made up, to me, sounds like a made up story to make people feel better about whatever purpose they feel like they should have on this planet.
Their purpose also to bring the tribe together. Because if we are X religion in the olden times, we need something that keeps the community together.
Right.
So we all pray to this God.
Right.
And we fight wars because that gives us tribalism. That gives us versus them. They are an other.
Right.
And okay, let's look at Judaism. I'm a Jew, so it's like thou shalt not eat pork.
Right.
Yeah, under undercooked pork would fucking kill you back in the day.
Exactly.
You know, poorly prepared shellfish fucking kill you. You know, all the kosher rules, all the dietary rules fucking kill you if you don't do it right.
Right.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. How's the best way to have infighting in your tribe?
Right.
Thou shalt not murder. Well, that makes sense.
Well, that's pretty straightforward. Like,
Right.
there's a few of them that like are pretty straightforward.
But
like,
they're very hypocritical because thou shalt not murder unless it's from the other tribe.
yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. See, I don't know where I fall on it because like I honestly haven't looked way too much into it. I just know like from what I know about it, it seems in my opinion, a little bit like bullshit. So like it just seems like a story. I know my brother read the Bible front to back a couple of times just to understand it. So did my sister. But I just never had enough interest to like look into it. But from what I've heard, I'm like, sounds like a story to me. It sounds like someone just wrote a story about whatever they felt was right at the time. And now it's a religion.
Exactly. And look at how much society's changed in, say, even the last 20 years. How is living your life written by rules written 2,000 years ago still going to fucking apply to you?
Exactly.
It's crazy. And I understand. Some people need that fucking comfort in their life. They need Sky Daddy to tell them everything's going to be okay.
Everything's going to be okay.
Because it's fucking terrifying to think like, oh, hey, this is the only existence we get. And through bad luck and happenstance, it may end very unexpectedly tomorrow.
Right.
Or hours from now.
Right. Or you might live a completely happy, long life until you're the age of 80.
Right.
It's hard to say.
And that's terrifying in its own right. Like, my grandparents made it to their late 90s. And in the later years, they're like, all our friends are dead. Nobody wants to spend, time with us because we're so old. It's just like,
so sad.
yeah.
Why would I want to live that? Like, I've jokingly said with my partner many times because we have a very dark sense of humor. We're like, suicide pact, like 60, maybe. Like, we just don't want to go that much further. Like, I don't, like, as of right now, don't have plans for kids. I have dogs. I want to have other animals. But, like, other than that, I don't want to go that long. Like, I really don't.
For me, it's all about quality of life. If they improve medical technology, if I can get the magic stem cells and, like, be fucking killing it at 80, sure.
Why not?
I mean, I don't want children. Actually, I can't have children. I had a fucking vasectomy.
So, yeah.
It was the move.
It was the move. It seems like the move.
It is.
For sure.
It is.
Especially with, that's a whole nother topic, but like the quality of life nowadays and the planet and its state of existence, I would not feel good bringing any kids into it, personally.
Well, honestly, I question like why people of our parents' generation brought people in. Like, shit wasn't exactly amazing in the 80s and 90s.
It wasn't. And it's like I can speak from my parents specifically, like they have a lot of unhealed trauma. They pass down to us kids. It's like you could have fixed yourself a little bit more before you popped out some kids at 20, but okay.
Well, and that's the problem. A lot of people don't have that self-awareness and don't give it that much thought.
Right.
Society says you're supposed to pair off and pump out 2.5 children.
Mm-hmm.
So people a lot of times just go, oh, it'd be so great to have a mini me.
But do you think about everything that goes into that?
Right. Everything that goes into that is also, there's a very good chance that this person's not going to be anything like you. And they may be a giant asshole. And now you're stuck providing for their well-being because this is the responsibility you took on.
Right. And you're going to have to accept that.
Right.
And you're going to have to raise them not until just the age of 18, but for the rest of their lives, you're going to have to be around for them. So it's like a lot of people don't think about that.
No. And a lot of people do a really piss poor job of it.
Oh, they absolutely do.
And it's one of those things where, like, on one hand, it's like in a utopian society, there'd be some sort of standardized test or some shit that would say, hey, you're going to be a fit parent or not. The problem is in the really real world, that would just be used to discriminate against fucking people. So it just would never work.
It would be. So now we're just stuck with a bunch of people who probably shouldn't be parents, being parents, and raising sometimes good people. But a lot of the time, they have a bunch of problems, and they can be pretty shitty.
Yeah.
So.
As I often joked before I got the vasectomy, it's like, if I had kids, I'd raise a good artist.
That's so funny because I've dated a lot of artists, so I know what you mean by that.
Oh, yeah. Anyone with a working brain cell should understand how that works.
My partner's going to take offense to that because he's an artist.
And how good was his childhood? Was
Not
it
that good.
case closed? I rest my case, Your Honor. Thank you. Thank you.
This is a jab at you, Lucky 1000%. I love you.
I didn't intend it as such.
You'll laugh about it, I hope.
I hope so too. But
He's like, you're never going on that podcast again.
I mean, he's welcome to come on here too. I mean, he's a performer.
Yeah.
Like,
I told him he could come with me today.
Yeah.
But he's hanging out with his agent at the moment.
Yeah. It's okay. I definitely would have like poked him in the ribs a bunch. Like just
Yeah, after I told you, you would probably just be like, boop, 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 boop.
we going to the doctor yet? We going to the doctor yet?
What about now?
How about now?
Is that hard enough?
But yeah, people need to be more self-aware and like take a look at the generational trauma that they're, because it doesn't take that many people back to be like, oh yeah, there were still like, basically serfs in Europe in a lot of cases.
Right. Yeah. I full-heartedly agree. There's a lot of people who don't dig enough into themselves to realize they might not be fit for certain things at that specific time. It's like you probably could have worked on yourself a little bit more and then your child wouldn't suffer for it or your partner wouldn't suffer for it, et cetera, et cetera. But a lot of people don't do that.
They don't. And the problem is you got to have the kids suffer a little bit. Because
Growth.
I've met some people that are like celebrities' kids that have never wanted anything in their fucking life.
Yeah.
And they're always the worst people.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's like, how do you get the right recipe of just the right amount of trauma,
Yeah.
but supportive enough
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, you're not a wildly fucked up problem for society.
Yeah. Just a little bit of character.
Yeah,
a
just
little bit of seasoning.
A little bit of seasoning.
That's all.
Understand like people can say no to you.
And you're not entitled to everything.
Right.
It's okay if you need a little bit of therapy.
Well, no, everyone needs therapy. Everyone.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Just a little, a
Like,
touch.
even if you had a perfect childhood, which no one has a perfect childhood, but even if you like had the quote unquote, it was a good childhood, you should still probably have therapy.
Definitely, because your parents were flawed human beings because they're human beings.
They're not going to be perfect.
No.
I mean, they can definitely not pass down a buttload of trauma to you, but they're not going to be perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sliding scale of like, definitely shouldn't breed, or probably going to be okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know I had a very rough childhood, but I feel like I ended up okay in retrospect. I mean, given I'm a sex worker and a porn star now, but I'm very self-aware. I'm in therapy, and I take care of my mental health.
So what you're saying is if they had found God, you would have been okay?
God, no.
That wasn't serious in the least bit. Don't worry.
No. God, no. Yeah, probably would have been worse off. But I wouldn't take it back. Like, even though like I had like a not a quote unquote like good childhood, I wouldn't take it back.
Well,
Like, it made me the person I am today.
Exactly.
So why would I do that?
If it wasn't for the child you had, you wouldn't be sitting here right now. You probably wouldn't be with your partner.
Exactly. So like, and I'm pretty happy where I'm at now. Like, I mean, sure, I was sick for 2 weeks and I had a tooth infection and a bunch of other fuck shit, but like, I'm still pretty happy where I'm at. Like, all things considered, life is pretty good. So
Well, those could have just come from your genetics. You could have been like sitting in a beautiful home with your own 2.5 children and been like, fucking toothache.
yeah, and it won't go away. And now my gums are infected. Blah blah blah.
Yep.
It's definitely genetics because I keep getting sick. But
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
yeah, you gave me trauma and my genetics are fucked. Can I have something, please? They're like, oh, you're kind of good looking. There you go.
Well, and you got a good sense of humor, so
Yeah, that's true. I let things roll off my back. I don't think that's the worst trait or worst quality.
it's definitely not a bad quality.
Yeah.
And you have the mixed bag of reasonable intelligence, so that's a cursing and a bless. Cursing and a blessing and a curse. I'm going to drink more.
Yeah. I know I'm
Like
working.
45 minutes in, I've had 3 whiskeys. I can talk.
You're going. I drink so well. I would say I drink slow. It's just because I'm talking a lot.
It's okay. I, once again, have quite a bit more body weight than you do and do this pretty often.
Yeah. I weigh
But
95 pounds. If I was drinking as much as you were right now, I would be very sloppy.
Yeah. but it's definitely a blessing and a curse to like have reasonable intelligence, because it's like, oh, dumb pretty people just can often just breeze right through life.
Oh, absolutely.
I
wonder what it's like.
Same. I also had like friends where like they had that going, and then when their looks started to fade, it became a real rough place for them.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've definitely known some people where it's like that's faded, or I met them like because I'm only 28, so like I don't like I've had older friends or older people I know where it's like, oh honey, like you're just a little sweetie. Like there's not much going on up there, is there? But you're real pretty though. They're there. I wonder what that's like because I don't have that. My brain is constantly going. I'm constantly thinking about many things. I never have a break. So like
I know the pain. Oh, I know the pain. Like, the one friend I'm thinking about in particular, like he was, a swimmer and just a very pretty tall blonde boy.
Yeah.
And like literally in our 20s, I had girls reach over me to introduce themselves to him.
Oh man.
And it was just like, the fuck is happening here?
Like I'm right here.
I'm literally like, I am not a small, I mean, I was a smaller dude, but I am not a small dude. And it's just like, you were literally reaching over me, girl, to say hello to my friend. This is wild.
Yeah.
And then he got, by his late 20s, like let himself go. And it was just like, oh, buddy, huh? You really fucked up here.
Yeah.
You really fucked up here. Like this is what you had going for you.
Like that was it.
That was really,
You don't got much going on up there.
yeah.
Sounds so fucked up.
It is, but unfortunately, that's
That's what some people are.
well, and that's just like how their genes made it through humanity. Like,
Yeah.
wealthy tribal chieftains went, oh, hey, I would like to, put my genes in there.
Yeah. And that's how it ended up.
Yep. Like, because we're dudes and we're dumb. And it's like, no matter how smart of a dude you are, there has been a point in your life where you have done some dumb shit in the name of sex.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sure it happens for women too, but like for us, it's just, I only have anecdotal experience as a dude. And I can tell you, I have done some dumb shit in the name of sex. And not even like guaranteed sex. I've done some dumb shit in the name of
like possible maybe.
Yeah, possible maybe like, oh yeah, I'll take a fucking 3-hour train ride and crash in your dorm for maybe to
To maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you done anything like wildly stupid in the name of maybe?
Yeah, I guess like the only circumstances I can think of is I had a lot of like I might like this guy because I was pretty vanilla before porn. Like porn and being a sex worker like really opened up my eyes to like being sexually open and trying things and being a little bit more slutty and stuff like that. So before porn, I was a little bit more vanilla. I had to feel like the guy liked me and like I didn't have a lot of like one night stands or sleeping around or anything like that. So like the moment I felt like you liked me and you might stick around for a little bit, I'm like, okay, you can get in my pants. So I had a lot of situations where I would bring a guy over for a date, and then I would realize halfway through, I'm like, I don't like him. This was like post I thought you were sexy clarity, like not even post nut clarity. It was just like I might be attracted to you enough to sleep with you. And then be like halfway through the date and be like, fuck, I don't like you as much as I thought you would. Now I have to try to weasel my way out of this.
You just say something, give you the ick.
Yeah, someone gave me the ick. That happens so much. Like the story that's coming to mind. I had this man I met on Instagram, and he had all the usual qualities I look for in a guy, like tattoos, dark hair. He worked, at a dealership. Like he made really good money. He worked on cars. It was like the sort of toxic shit I can tend to be like attracted to. So we talked for a little bit. I invited him over to my house, and the first ick was at the time I lived with my brother and his wife. We had like our own little apartment. He walked in. I'm like, this is so and so. He walked right past my brother and went into my room. And my brother was like holding out his hand to like shake his hand.
What the fuck?
And he walked right past him and just went into my room. And I was like, I guess I'm gonna go in there. Like, I'm sorry. Like, immediate ick. I'm like, how are you gonna be rude to my actual brother? And this is the first time we're hanging out. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, that's wild.
Wild. It gets even crazier though. So he walks straight into the room, and I'm turning around to close the door. Given this is the first time I've ever met this man, I turn around, he's taking his pants off. He's going straight to boxers to like go and cuddle in my bed or whatever.
Cuddle inside you? Like,
Yeah, like he was ready. And I'm like, dude, I just met you. Like, I'm not like that. Like,
Well,
I thought I portrayed this.
I'm sure he was. I'm not defending his behavior, but I'm sure in his mind he's like, "Oh, she's inviting me over. This is just
Like,
DTF.
this is gonna happen.
This is just she's just down to fuck."
Yeah, but I was just like, I just want to like cuddle, get to know you, like maybe eat some popcorn and watch a movie. Like it was completely innocent on my end, but he was like 0 to 100, we're fucking, and I'm like, okay, that's not gonna happen, but we'll see. So like the night progresses, we end up watching a movie which I cannot watch anymore.
What movie?
It was the first Doctor Strange.
I didn't ruin that bad of a movie for you, so like,
Yeah, I know it wasn't terrible.
movies you can never watch again. Missing the first Doctor Strange, not the biggest loss.
Not the biggest one, but I'm a huge Marvel fan, so like it was a little bit of an L, but
I mean, why couldn't he have done that during Quantum Mania or some shit?
right? Like, come on, like something else.
The Marvels, like
Some other shit, but like that one, because I actually love Benedict Cumberbatch. So I'm like, I want to watch this man be Doctor Strange, but he ruined it for me, and now I can never watch it. But the entire time we were awkwardly cuddling. Like at this point, I was getting the vibe where I'm like, I'm getting the ick. I don't like him as much as I thought I would. Like, this is not going to happen.
it took that long. I mean, the minute his pants came off, the minute he walked in
I
your door.
know. And the minute he walked past my brother when he was trying to, like, you would have thought I was a little naive, but I figured it out now.
I see that. Like, jeez.
So halfway through the movie, we start having like awkward conversation to try to get to know each other. And then out of nowhere, he's like, I have this condition I need to tell you about. I'm like, okay, what is it? He's like, I have this condition that runs in my family where the men in my family get like lumps on their balls. And I have one of those. Would you like to see it? No. I wouldn't. Thank you for telling me, but I would like to not see it. And then he proceeds to say, like, I just want to let you know, just in case. I'm like, okay, thank you.
That's okay. That's a mind-boggling play on my part.
Right.
Like, just what?
Like, I get being flirty and like trying
That's not flirty.
to like lead towards that, but that wasn't flirty. That was like just telling me about your medical condition.
Like, yo, this benign tumor, it gets the panties wet.
Yeah.
Don't you love my benign tumor, baby?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? It's right on my ball sack. You'll want to touch that, right?
You want to see some skin tags too?
So yeah, he told me about that. We were still only like maybe halfway through the movie. So I'm like, I have to try to get through the rest of this movie with this man. And at this point, he keeps trying to make out with me, and I keep like struggling away from it because like I didn't want to, but I was like too shy to tell him to leave. So like we just kept having awkward conversation. And it ended up being towards the end of the movie. As soon as the credits started rolling, I'm like, I'm tired, you gotta go. This is not happening. I'm not gonna do this. So I finally usher him out of the room. Like he's taking his sweet ass time. And he's like, you gotta walk me to my car. I have to walk him to his car. So I'm gonna walk this man to his car, this 6-foot man to his car. So I walk him to his car. And then he refuses to let me leave until I give him a good night kiss. So I kiss him and he drives away, and I immediately block him as soon as he leaves.
Well, not every dude can read the room very well.
No, I have a lot of really bad dates like that.
Oh, I'm tell me more, because I'm curious. Like, oh
man, yeah, because like there was a point in my life where I was like not confident enough to speak up when I was like uncomfortable. So like I would just stick around with these situations when I knew nothing was gonna happen. So I met up with this man, met him on Tinder, and we seemingly had a lot in common. We met up, and immediately I could not get a word in. He was talking about himself the entire time. Like literally from start to finish. And it was a long date. Like it was not like dinner and then I went home. It was like dinner and then we got dessert at a different place and we walked around. Like it was a whole situation for like 3 or 4 hours. Talked about himself the entire time. He also didn't have a car. He was very vegan, vegetarian, which is fine, but very like hippie type of guy. So he didn't have a car on purpose.
I'm getting the vibe of like, oh, I don't eat anything that casts a shadow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the vibe, like what you're picturing, for sure. I'm like, okay, so you don't eat anything. Got it. But yeah, so he only had a bike. It was a speed bike, so it's like a racing bike or whatever the fuck they're called. But so he could go fast, kind of. But yeah, so he talked about himself the entire time. Didn't have a car. Was like working from some startup, so he wasn't even really making money. Like it just kind of got worse and worse as the date went on. But towards the end, he was like, "Will you drive me home? I live like 10 minutes from here."
Bro, I thought you didn't believe in cars.
Exactly. So he like folded up his bike and put it in the back of my car. It was like one of those.
So your morals go right out the window when you're lazy?
Yeah, because he was tired. We were walking around a lot.
Well, maybe if he had some protein, he would have been able to walk around all day.
You would have had some energy.
Right?
There you go. Nathan would be proud. So I ended up driving home because I don't know how to say no. Even though, like, at this point, I was like, I don't want to see this guy again. Like, all he's been doing is talking about himself, whatever. So we established during the date that he had a new puppy that he just got. And he's like, you want to come meet my puppy? Like, this is like him trying to get me.
Oh, I mean, that's the move.
That's the move. It did get me, though, because
right.
I want to see your puppy. Like, I'm not even going to lie.
Because honestly, I mean, that is such a brilliant / scummy move. Because do you want to have sex with a woman who doesn't want to see your puppy?
No.
Right. Like, hey, you want to see my new puppy? No, I'm cool. Oh, thank you for like the trash seeing itself out at that point.
Exactly. Like if I like had someone over at my apartment or something and I'm like, you want to see my pug? And they're like, no. I'm like, go fuck yourself. Get out of my apartment.
Right.
Like, I don't want you to be here. Like, you don't want to meet my adorable, ugly dog. Like
I understand not wanting to meet someone's cats. Because they could be assholes.
They can be assholes. They all have different personalities.
Right. Like that thing could claw you, bite you. Like it could just be an asshole.
It don't matter.
But unless it's a trained attack dog, well, how are you going to say no to meeting someone's dog?
Especially a puppy.
Right.
Like a 9-week-old puppy. Like you think I'm going to say no to that?
No. The man, for all his many other flaws,
he saw the opportunity.
Yeah. He
and you know I took it.
Because you're not a monster.
I'm not a monster.
Because you're not a monster.
And I thought he was lying at the time. Like, he's just trying to get me in his house. Like, we're just going to get in there and I'm going to get seduced and we're going to fuck.
If he didn't have a puppy, that's some serial killer shit.
No, he did actually have a puppy.
Good. Because that would have been some serial killer shit. Hey, I don't know what happened to my puppy. Like, why are we not out looking for your puppy right now and trying to...
Because if it was my dog, I'd be immediately out the door. Like, where's my fucking dog?
Right,
like, what the fuck? But yeah, so he actually had a puppy. And if you know anything about puppies, if you had one, they have razor sharp baby teeth. So I was playing with the puppy, trying to get out the door, when the puppy grabs onto my hand and rips my finger open.
Ooh.
Because it just like they have these razor sharp, super tiny teeth. So it just like effortlessly ripped my finger open. So like I had this like huge gash down my finger. And I didn't want to hurt this guy's feelings or make him feel bad. So as soon as I saw my hand was like gushing blood, I hid it behind my back. And I kept like having casual conversation with this guy, trying to leave as quickly as I could because my hand is now bleeding down my back. Just like, yeah, I'll call you, whatever, text you, blah.
I mean, I'm also concerned now that dog's tasted blood and now it's probably vicious. It's like, ooh, I like that.
Like, that tastes good.
Right?
Like, I don't know how it ended up because I ended up not talking to him again.
I mean, the dog probably ate him.
Probably.
The dog is obviously the superior in that relationship.
Yeah, like it was like some fluffy little dog, but he obviously ate him. Like you can assume.
I would.
Yeah. But yeah, so my hand was bleeding behind my back, and I was just like making conversation to try to leave, and we finally like hugged. I gave him a kiss on the cheek, and somehow he didn't see me bleeding all over the place. And I left in my car with my hand up like this, just bleeding all over the place. And I immediately went to the ER and they sewed up my finger.
Please tell me you've gotten more confrontational as you've gotten older.
I have.
Good, because holy shit, like that shit's just wild to me. That you wouldn't even be like, I need a napkin, dog. I'm bleeding here.
No, I don't want to hurt his feelings. Like I was like, I'm gonna suffer through this.
I have to ask, how many people have you had sex with because you didn't want to hurt their feelings?
I don't know.
More than one?
More than one, unfortunately. There's been some situations where I'm just gonna get this over with.
That's
But way long ago, though.
I'm sure.
Way long ago.
But still, it's.
Like,
I'm glad you outgrew that. Like,
yeah, for sure. But like, I stayed in a 3.5 year long relationship, and the last year I did not have sex, and I never confronted the man about it.
so was this you wanting to and him not wanting to?
Yeah, because I'm a obviously a very sexual person.
Hey, that's not a given. Like, I hate to pull back the curtain for some people. Not everyone who works in this industry is an nymphomaniac.
Fair. Very fair. But I am genuinely a sexual person. So like I'm a very sexual person. So I was actively like, I want to have sex like once or twice a day type situation. Cause like I'm in love with you. I want to do that with my partner. And he was just like, no, I'm okay. So like I brought it up a few times, but we were like 8 months in, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like my sex drive is like way up here and yours is like way down there, which is fine, but I can't do this anymore.
And why did you wait so long to get out? You just don't want to hurt his feelings?
I just didn't want to hurt his feelings.
I mean, but that had to have hurt your feelings to be rejected all the time, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like I found out after the fact, like once we finally broke up, because we were together for 3.5 years, that he was more asexual, which makes sense because like that's not really your thing when you're asexual. You don't like to have sex. So like, which is totally fine. But like, I am not that way.
Well,
Like, it's not.
It's a fundamental incompatibility.
Right, exactly. Like it's two completely different situations there, which is fine. Like you can be asexual. It's just like something where I wish we could have had like enough conversation and enough comfortability with each other where we could have discussed that, figured it out together, and like went from there.
Exactly, because as I actually just posted earlier today, it's like if something's a red flag and something's a deal breaker, let it break the deal. Don't try to force things.
Absolutely. I was just having this conversation today. Like if like something's not working, don't try to force it.
No.
There's no point.
Especially if you don't have property or kids with the person.
Exactly. Like if you're renting, you can figure that shit out.
Right.
Like you're not locked into that. That's like a 6-month long, 8-month long, year-long commitment, and you can figure it out from there.
You could sublet to somebody.
You could sublet. You could break that agreement. Someone could take it over. Like you don't have to stay in that.
Right. It'll be inconvenient, but once again, as we talked about earlier in this episode, you may die tomorrow. Why put this shit off for 6 months if everyone's unhappy?
Exactly. And like, I know I'm only 28, but I've actually been divorced. So I was married. I was with someone for almost 7 years. And then we got engaged 4 or 5 years into the relationship. And then we planned the wedding for 2 years and then broke up like barely a year after that. It's just like fundamental compatibilities that like would make a marriage work. We didn't fully discuss before we got married type situation. So like when we finally discussed them and we're like the compatibilities aren't matching, like fundamental compatibilities that you need to have when you're married. Like if you want to have kids, where you want to live, like what you're comfortable with relationship wise, et cetera, weren't matching up. And like once we discovered that, we were adult enough to be like, this ain't gonna work.
So what were the deal breakers? Well, some of them at least.
I mean, it was, again, like the kids. Like I discovered like I thought when I was in the relationship with him, I was like, I want to have kids. Like, I want to do this. I want to have like 3 or 4 kids. I want to be that person. I want to have, quote unquote, I call it, because I play video games, an NPC life. So it's like the
Your very own Sims.
Yeah, very own Sims, like having your 9 to 5 and, popping out babies and just being married and raising the babies, and that's it. I thought that's what I wanted. But when I started to actually think about it, like, I don't know if I want to have kids. Like, that really fucks up a woman's body.
Not enough people talk about postpartum depression.
Absolutely. And I already struggle myself with chronic depression. I have since I was 15. So it's like, I can't even imagine what, like, I have this now, like, what that would be like. Like, I feel like it would destroy me. Like, I would have that on top of birthing a baby and having to raise the baby and, breastfeed and do all the things and be there consistently while I'm still healing from childbirth. I'm like, that doesn't sound like the life I want.
No, and it's probably not the life a lot of people would want if they really consciously thought about it. Like,
Right.
anecdotally, I'm the youngest, and my mother suffered really bad postpartum depression like after I was born. And my sister's like, yeah, she basically just checked out. Like, she just
That happens to a lot of women.
right. And like, why the fuck don't more people talk about that shit?
They should.
Right? Like, hey, you're gonna do all these things that fundamentally alter your body, your mind, your hormones,
Like everything.
and you may be doing it with someone you're not gonna like in less than a year.
Right.
I meant your partner, not the kid, but
I mean, both.
Possibly both.
Possibly
both.
Yeah.
Hopefully the bonding hormones make you at least like the kid.
Hopefully. Yeah.
It's a wild thing to do just because society says this is what we should do.
You should. Like,
Yeah.
this is your path. And it's like, when I actually thought about it, like really thought about it, I was like, I don't know if I can do that. Like, not at least now. Because, like, at that point, I was 25. I'm like, I barely got my life figured out. Like, why do I want to produce another human?
Right.
That
Like,
makes no sense to me.
Your brain's only fully formed now.
Right. And then now I'm going to be like, let me grow a human, birth it, heal my body while I'm raising said human and working. Like, because at that point, I wasn't in porn yet. So it's like I was working a 9 to 5. So it's like that just didn't seem plausible. And it's like which is totally fine. Like, he wanted babies and like that's totally okay. But then like there was other things. Like, I discovered a 9 to 5, like a typical 9 to 5 wasn't quite what fit what I wanted. Like, I wanted that freedom to be like, travel if I want, take as much time off as I want, go do whatever I wanted to do. And like that didn't quite fit with like what his life plan was. Like, these are certain things we didn't talk about before we got married.
What was his life plan?
He wanted I mean, I have all the love for him, but he wanted the like stereotypical, more so like housewife situation. Like, he wanted me to get married, have the babies, still work a 9 to 5. I mean, that's not even housewife, but he wanted me to like do all the housewife type duties, have the babies, and work.
And be a dual income.
So it's like, that didn't fit with what I wanted. Like, that was too much.
It
I
is.
think that'd be too much for a lot of people.
And a lot of people do it anyways.
And I was not willing to do that.
Good on you. Good on you. First and foremost, just good on you. And that's one of the things that like a lot of people don't seem to realize about anyone who's in this industry. For the most part, we're people who have decided that like society's fucking judgment doesn't matter.
Right.
On one hand, we need a lot of people who are A-okay with what society's judgment says. Otherwise, no one's going to deliver my pizza.
You're right. And I still want that.
Right. I'm selfish. I definitely still want that. Like, I don't need society to break down, because if all of us decide that we're not doing this, society will break down.
Yeah, it'll fall apart. And like, I still want my pizza. I still want my burger.
Right.
But also,
I just don't want that for me.
Right, me specifically. I really don't want that. And then,
Oh, wow. That really makes it sound like horrible people were like, yeah, we could delegate all you to NPC them.
yeah, it's fine if you do it. I won't do it. I can't do that shit. It makes me so sad. Like, nothing personally, but like, I can see, other people do it. And I'm like, I see what you're seeing out of that, but I can't. Like,
Well, and on the flip side of that, I will admit, like, when I worked in 9 to 5, I worked corporate America and all that shit. It's like
right,
the stability of that shit.
is great.
The ability to, when I'm off the clock, this is no longer my fucking problem. I get to actually fully enjoy my life.
Right.
You know, us as, especially in the modern age of porn, we're content creators.
We don't get that.
Right. Like, how many promotional tweets and Instagram posts did you have to put out today while thinking about, like, what am I going to say on this podcast? And then, do I have a scene tomorrow? Do I have a collab tomorrow?
Right.
It's, even when you have days off, you don't have days off.
Yeah, it's never ending.
Right.
Every day is always work. And when you're giving yourself an off day, it's not an off day. Like, you're still thinking about what you have to do for work because it's all you. Like, you don't have a chance to take a break per se.
Oh, I agree. I don't know about you, but for me, tell me if this is what you experience as well.
Absolutely.
But like when I do, just burn out and like force myself to take an off day, I feel guilty about it, like when I get back to work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, whenever I take my off days, like, it's usually like doing, what I would usually do on a normal day when I'm like done with work or whatever, like playing video games, reading, going snowboarding, etc., etc. But like, if I just do that, I don't do anything else, I feel so guilty. I'm like, I am lazy. I need to get on, I need to make a tweet. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to take pictures. Like, it's the guilt is unbelievable. Like, it really makes you feel terrible.
It 100% does. And like, that's one thing that people that live in the 9-to-5 world will never fucking grasp.
Yeah.
Because they're just allowed to just go the fuck home and do whatever their little hearts desire.
Wash their hands clean and that's it.
Yeah. Be fucking irritated if their boss bothers them on their off time.
Yeah. We don't get that.
No.
Because we are the boss.
Yep.
Oh, well, but I still wouldn't trade it for anything, though.
Oh, I'm here by choice. Like,
yeah, like the stress is, in my mind, more worth it. Because, like, at the end of the day, I am able to fully pay my bills, and I'm living somewhere where I can pay, and I can pay all my bills, and I can still have fun when I need to. Sure, is it like there's other things going on in my brain, like what I need to do tomorrow, or what picture sets I need to take, who I need to reach out to, but it's worth it to me. It's more worth it than a 9-to-5.
oh, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. I just, for myself, I wish someone had been there to be like, by the way, this is how it's going to be.
Absolutely.
At the point where like I went from being a content creator, but still holding down a 9-to-5.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I'm just fucking overwhelmed all the time. I'm just fucking,
There's just too much
there's no off. There is zero off.
There's no off time.
And then it went to like, oh, I'm just a full-time content creator. I work side hustles to do whatever I need to do to make it by.
Right.
It's like, oh, I also effectively run a collection agency for my side hustles now because people don't pay on time. And
You're right.
it's like, I really wish someone like really had been like, by the way, you need to understand, until you're successful enough to have a team around you that you employ, this is a lot of work and a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah. Because you're doing all the jobs. Like, you're the manager, you're the content creator, you're the editor, you're the promotion person. Like, you're everything in one. So, like, people don't think about that. Because, like, I was actually in the same shoes you were. For a long time, I was actually working for TikTok. So I
Sorry.
did. I know. When I tell people that, I either get, if you know what I'm talking about, you're either like, I'm so sorry, or you're like, that's so cool. Depending on what you know, and the I'm so sorry is definitely the right answer.
Oh no, if it was so cool, you'd still be doing it.
Yeah, I was a content moderator too.
Oh yeah, no, that's the job that Facebook farms out to third world countries to traumatize people in other parts of the world so they don't have to look at them when they have to fucking get therapy for the shit they see.
Right. So like I did that, which people who don't know what it is, it's exactly what it sounds like. So like the TikTok videos you upload, I have to watch every single one of them, which if you can imagine, they're not always pleasant. So
oh my God, there's horrible people on the internet?
yes, I saw all the worst things you can imagine. Which luckily I have a very strong brain for that stuff, so I'm able to like put it in the right places where it needs to be, so it doesn't fuck with me. But I knew many friends and coworkers who quit within the first 2 months of having that job, or who had to go to therapy and are still in therapy. So luckily I was not like that. But when I started in porn and camming and OnlyFans and stuff, like I was still had a 9-to-5. I was doing TikTok and content moderating, and then whenever I had time, I was doing OnlyFans and porn and whatever. So like going from that type of job that's so polarizing and for most people pretty traumatizing to also doing sex work, which is also pretty polarizing and can be traumatizing for some people, was a lot. So I totally get where you're coming from. I had to pick one. I'm like, at some point, I'm like, I'm making enough money at, this sex work stuff to just quit. Like, I can't do both. And I'm not going to quit sex work because I like it. So
why, spend a life consuming other people's content that you have to take down versus making your own?
Exactly. I'd much rather make my own. And I know I'm not going to traumatize myself from that. So, like,
except for that one really hot scene. No.
True. Actually depends. There's been some days on set which were pretty rough, but
well, and that's the thing that like every fucking civilian like, oh, that's not working. Like, dog, you've never been on a 16-hour set where like everybody wants to go home. People are sore. People are tired. Just everyone who's on actually everyone on that set is fucking working.
Yeah, like it's not what you think it is. Like I've said to a few friends, like I would love to take some like hardcore porn fans, be like, this is what an actual day on set looks like. Do you still think it's sexy? Because it's not what you think it is.
Oh, it's not. And I say this to people all the time, like, if production's doing their job right, that's why it looks like it's fun and it's not work. Right. Because they're doing their job correctly. If you could tell that either performer's in discomfort or not having the best time of their life, someone's fucked up.
Exactly.
They're here to sell you the illusion. That's how you get people that are the creme de la creme of performers. They're the people that every time the camera's rolling, they are looking like they're having the best sex of their life. You may watch, to call back to a super old school performer, you may go back and look at like any Jenna Jameson performance.
Right.
Jenna looks like she's having the best dick of her life every time she has a scene.
Right.
You and I know the reality of it. That cannot be possible.
No, it's not. Because it's like the reality of it is like most of the time, unless you've been in the industry for a while and you work consistently, you're usually working with someone you've never met. So it's like you don't know how the chemistry is going to be. It's a toss-up. Like you could think that someone who's your exact type in a performer, like you're going to go on set and be like, this is going to be great because it's my exact type. The chemistry is going to be there. It's going to be good. This is going to be a great scene. And everything is mismatched. Doesn't matter. Like, and then it could be the exact opposite. Someone who's not your type at all. Like you would never have sex with them off camera ever. Hits all the marks for you. So like it's random. Like it's hard to tell if it's going to be a good scene. And that's when it comes into being a performer. So when you're like, it's work. This is not for fun. You're just performing. That's all it is.
Right. Your job is to make something that is aesthetically pleasing for the end user to get their rocks off to.
Exactly. I think a lot of people forget that.
Yeah. Oh no. Believe me. Looking at the comment section, everyone on the internet, at least everyone who's willing to comment on my fucking content, thinks this shit's educational, that this is a fucking documentary or some shit.
Yeah.
It's like, how the hell is she upset about like not wanting to fuck dudes that are learning how to fuck from her porn? And like, well, I hate to bring it, nobody should be learning from her porn.
Because it's performative sex.
Right.
It is not actual sex.
No.
It is performative. It is there to make it look sexy and hot and like it's the best sex ever. It's not. I'm so sorry, but it's performative. You should not be learning from that.
100%. And nothing will get me to make fun of someone faster. Like when I'm having the performers I've been involved with over the years, like when they're opening up to cameras that aren't there. And I'm like, what are you doing right now? What are you...
You're like, we're on a podcast.
I mean, I hope we're not on a podcast. Like, I don't bang on film. Like, I date people in this industry on occasion. It happens, but it's like, girl, what are you like? We're in my room. There are no cameras here. Like, why are you doing the wide straddle reverse cowgirl right now? Like, is this how? Are you enjoying this? Like, like I have literally stopped mid fucking and be like, are you okay? Like, are you good?
Yeah, like you're consenting. Like this is like you're enjoying this. Like this is not performative.
Right? Like, are you? I don't understand why you're opening up right now. Like, what is happening?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know a lot of guys because I have a lot of guy friends, but I have a lot of guy friends in the industry like Nathan Bronson and obviously my partner who's in the industry, and they will sometimes like off camera or like when we're having casual conversations call it a pop, which is an industry term for coming. And
I mean, I said that too.
you're right. And they like will say it casually, and like my partner's done that before. He's like, I'm about to pop, and I'm like, what did you say to me? We're not on camera right now. Like, what did you say to me? And I know other porn couples in the industry who have like the exact same problem.
I mean, I've lived because I've discussed this before, but like I have problems finishing when I'm drunk, and I legitimately, I think, said someone to recently, like, yo, I really can't pop when I've been drinking. Like,
you just can't.
I just
not. Yeah, which is fair.
I mean, I know it. Like, there's been plenty of times just like, I would really like to now, please. Too much alcohol in system. But yeah, I'll refer to it as popping all the time. And I've never been male talent. Not once.
It's just like, I mean, I can imagine like you hear it a lot, obviously.
Yeah.
What you do. So like it just like kind of gets stuck in your head.
Well, yeah. And in addition to this, like I do work as a PA. Like I'm actually on set at time too. So it's not like I'm just here in podcast land.
Oh, where do you PA?
It's been a while, but like last person I was PAing for was Mind Geek, like out in Vegas.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
I've been a PA over the years. Like I've done a lot of jobs in this industry, like besides this.
Besides, yeah.
So it's just like, it's not anecdotal. You know, it's not just like, oh, I've heard stories. Like, no,
I've been there.
I've literally been there. I've literally had friends of mine brace themselves against me while I'm off camera, like out of frame, so they don't slide during an oil scene. Like, it's not glamorous.
No.
I'm making like a $200 a day date rate on this shit. Well, it's like, hey, this is one of my oldest friends in the industry, like literally banging someone like within arm's reach of me, and me bracing them so they don't slide out of her while I'm out of frame. Like,
not sexy. And
no.
like, I just feel like a lot of people forget that. It's like, okay, so like you think you could be a porn star, right? Like,
no. See, that's no.
You're like, you're self-aware. I'm like, I could not do that. Like, it's fine. I just like know so many guys and like guy friends and people I've met. They're like, oh, I could do it. Like, I could last this long. I could do this. I could do that. I'm like, so okay, like right, like you can you do new position every couple of minutes? Hold your cum. Also take breaks and then have to be around other guys and keeping your edge.
Oh, I tell people all the time, can you deal with someone who looks like me standing over you, sweating on you, holding a boom?
Exactly.
While you're inside someone else. And me being completely disinterested on what's happening in front of me. Like, I just want to go home. I do not care.
Right.
As long as we get the shot, I just want to go home.
Like, I don't care. I really don't care what you're doing.
Yeah, like, this is not sexy to me. I'm not turned on by you. I just want to go home.
Yeah.
I make a day rate. Faster I get to go home, more money I make per hour.
Right. Like, I really don't even want to be here. And like people forget that. They're like, we're also people doing a job.
Yeah.
Like, this is not fully sex. Like the amount of times we get paired with someone that we're actually attracted to is little to none. Like most of the time, it's a random guy or a random girl you've never met. And you have to fake it.
I'm curious, did you meet Lucky on set?
We did, yes. Oh, well, kind of. Not really. So we met on a dating app.
Okay.
But he's the one who got me into porn.
Okay.
So kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. We met in December of 2021.
Nice.
Yeah. So I guess met before porn, kind of in porn.
Well, you were already camming at that point, right?
Yeah. So model.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got into porn in March. So like a couple months later after we met.
Nice.
But yeah, he was already in porn for a year at that point.
I was just curious if it was one of those set romances like, oh shit, the chemistry's here.
Yeah. No, it was just a dating app, like right time type of thing.
Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. Just kind of like fit. Because like he was, I put in my bio, I was like, I'm an OnlyFans person, I'm a cam person. So like if you have a problem with that, don't message me type thing.
Good call on that shit.
Yeah. Because like I've been there, done that. So I'm like, and at the time, I was still with my ex-husband and we were in a polyamorous relationship. So I was like, I'm married, I'm polyamorous, I'm also a sex worker. So I know that's a lot to handle.
So many red flags for the normies. So many red flags.
So I'm like, if you can't handle that, don't even message me. Like, it's not worth the time. And then we immediately hit it off.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like, that's so many red flags. Like,
I know. It seems like a lot.
well, it is. For the average person, that's so, like, if you're inexperienced with being involved with a sex worker, like, the sex worker thing is intimidating first and foremost. Like, no matter what level of sex work you're in, like, what type,
Absolutely.
it's intimidating. And then you add in polyamory, it's like, oh, and there's a whole nother probably primary partner
Yeah.
in this. Yeah. So, and a lot of dudes' egos definitely can't handle being the secondary.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, because you can tell yourself, like, personally, I am not into polyamory. Like,
Right.
I'm A-okay with non-monogamy, but polyamory I'm not into because, like, the emotional commitment is what I'm looking for somebody.
Mm-hmm. It can be a lot.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. Like I found in my current relationship. So like with Lucky, we do consider we are polyamorous / open because we have found that, for lack of a better word, we can't find a third or another person or people who like kind of fit with the dynamic we're looking for, like without sounding shallow.
What? Not being romantically involved with someone you don't want to be romantically involved with? How the fuck is that shallow?
I don't know. So I've come across a lot of people like specifically who are like open and polyamorous who like think that if you have specific preferences that it's like you're being shallow or you're not being like open to situations or
What the fuck?
Exactly, like what
Like,
have you.
Like, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not polyamorous. I've never been
Right.
polyamorous. But that is just basically spreading the love to multiple people. Like, just because this person's not your primary partner, why would you sacrifice what you want for this other person to be your partner? That just sounds greedy. Like, just being like,
Greedy,
like,
right?
oh, yeah, I'll just take you. Yeah, this is just so I can have another one. Like, no, why would you sacrifice what you want to be with a person?
Like I'm not collecting people.
Right.
I'm trying to find, multiple people I can share like feelings or love or sexual connection with. Like I'm not trying to just collect everyone. Like that's not my point.
Exactly. Like, that's so wild to me that anyone would judge you for having fucking standards for someone you want to be in a romantic relationship with, no matter the type of romantic relationship.
Right.
That's so fucking weird.
It's a little backwards. And like we get a lot of slack specifically because like what we're kind of looking for in our relationship is like we really want a third. Because like I'm super bisexual. I love women. So like I have a man. I don't really want another man. I want a girlfriend. So like we kind of want a girlfriend together. But in the polyamorous community, people can be really judgy about that. Because they're like, you already have this person and you're trying to bring it into like I'm not a unicorn. The term is unicorn. So it's like I'm not a unicorn. If you want me to be a unicorn, I'm not doing that. Like if I can't love you separately, I don't want to love you or I don't want to be in a relationship with you. So it's like certain things surrounding the community can be a little much.
Sounds like it. I mean, why would you want another man? Why would you want a second person you got to try to get to go to the hospital?
Exactly. Like
that sounds like a lot of work on your part.
I already have the one. Like
right?
I don't need another one. I want a girl I can like go get my nails done with and eat her pussy. Like I'm not trying to have another dick. Like I'm fine.
I'm just talking about the maintenance part of it. Like, oh, now you're both sick and won't go to the doctor? What the fuck?
Oh, absolutely though. Like realistically, non-sexually, I don't need another one of those. Like I want a self-aware female who's like, I got this going on. I'm going to the doctor. Like I don't need another one. That's for sure.
That sounds exhausting. That sounds like even if you're like, getting double teamed, that sounds exhausting. Just to like the minute the orgasm's over, it's like, God damn it. Now I got to do it.
Now I got to make sure he's hard, and then I got to do like I literally just had this conversation with Lucky because like I haven't done much group stuff. Like the only group stuff I've done at this point is like off camera and on camera. It's just like him and another girl. So like 2 girls and a boy. Like I've only ever done that. He's like, we can do like another boy. Like that we could do that. Like it's totally open, like on camera, off camera. And I'm like, oh my God. It's so much work.
Unless you're in one of those situations and the boys like each other too.
Right.
Then those work out okay.
Yeah, because that's hot to me. Like, I can watch you guys together. Like, you can be on me. We can be on each other.
You could have that whole fucking like giant sandwich thing.
Sandwich, like that's so hot. Like, yes, please. But like,
I mean, that is not my cup of tea, but like I
no,
understand.
but like you could get it.
Yeah.
Like we're all involved. But like a boy, like a boy girl. It's like most of the time it's two straight guys and a girl.
We jokingly used to refer to that as a 2.5 sum.
You're like half in.
Right. It's
That's it.
You and me, bro, we're not touching each other.
That's it. No.
It's a 2.5 sum. Like, it can't be a full 3 sum because it's just like we have to keep the female's body lit weight between us at all times.
Yeah.
Like, heaven forbid we're both on the same side.
Can't look at you.
Right. Oh God, no eye contact.
Can't touch.
No.
Like, no. Unless you're like really good friends. Like, I know a lot of guys in the industry who are like really good friends with each other and they worked with each other.
Well, the guys in the industry is the big caveat there.
That is the caveat. Like, I'm like off camera. I don't know many guys who like are that close. But like, for instance, I'm thinking of like Nathan Bronson and then my partner Lucky Fate. Like, they've worked together multiple times, and their friendship goes so far that Lucky's accidentally came on his chest before during a scene, which is like most
I'm
guys
glad-
couldn't do that. So.
I'm glad it wasn't just like a random Friday. Like, just hi Nathan.
No, it wasn't like that. No, it was during a scene. For sure. And it was like a VR scene, so Nathan couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Do you want to be male talent out there?
Yeah, you want to be a male talent. Can you handle that? Can you handle one of your best friends coming in your chest? Can you handle that?
And then not being able to move or let it sit there and get hard and crystallize in your chest hair.
Then you have to sit there and take pictures. You got to take pictures too. You can't go anywhere without that. So, like,
Are you okay with another man's cum on you?
there you go.
I mean,
That's
because at the point where another man's cum is on me, I don't care if we're friends or not. Like, it's another man's cum. It's not arousing to me at all.
No, like, I'm immediately soft. If I was a guy, like, I would be immediately soft. I'd be like, how do I keep an edge with this?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. Like, doesn't matter how hot the girl is. Like,
That's another industry term that not everyone knows. Keeping your edge.
keeping your edge.
Yep.
Yeah, that's another one. A lot of people don't know that one.
We're just pulling back the curtain on the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, that's what you're getting today. Nothing but truths.
Well, I mean, that's what we hope for around here. That is what we hope for. But the polyamory thing it sounds exhausting. No matter.
It's a lot. Yeah. So like I've definitely discovered like as I've gone more into it, I do lean a little bit more towards like non-monogamy or like being open.
Yeah.
So like just like having fun with other people.
Yeah, and like when I'm in relationships, if it is within the boundaries of the person I'm sleeping with, I have no problems with that. Like, because it's like,
yeah,
why would I be upset if my partner went and got a massage?
exactly.
Like, oh, that's a strange person's hands all over you, bringing you physical pleasure. If I'm not bothered by that, why should I be bothered by you getting a no?
Yeah. Which I'm not. It's just like when the feelings come into play, that's definitely when it gets a little bit more complicated.
Oh, 100%. Like, as I said, like, that's why I'm never looking to do polyamory. It's just like, no. What makes this okay in my world is like, no matter what you're out there doing, you're coming home to me.
Right, exactly. Like you're I don't mind you getting pleasure from other places.
Right. Hell,
So,
if it's really awesome, tell me about it.
yeah, tell me about it. Like if it's a hot girl we both find attractive, absolutely let me know. Tell me while you're inside me. Like I would love to know. Like that's how freaky I go. But like I'm the same way. Like it definitely like I'm leaning more on open, but like in this situation where like if we found a person we both like together and we were dating them together, I'm totally fine with that. But like separately is when it gets complicated.
Yeah.
Like we've had a lot of situations where just like, for instance, like if he was dating someone separately, like where the person he was seeing didn't quite understand our dynamic. So they tried to like steal him away or they crossed boundaries, et cetera, et cetera. Like it just gets complicated. So it's like the key to polyamory and being open is just communication, and boundaries.
100%. And that's, once again, why I'm okay with open, because it's like, I trust you, my partner, but I don't necessarily trust that motherfucker.
Absolutely. I can't trust that they're going to follow whatever we have set up.
Right.
Like, I can trust that you're going to do it, but I can't trust that they're going to do it.
Right. And the minute I can't trust that you're going to do it, deuces.
Bye.
Right.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, all you have is trust.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you don't have trust in a relationship, why are you there?
Exactly. And like, that's what a lot of people ask me. They're like, how can you watch, like, just outside of the polyamory and the open, like, how can you watch your partner be with other people? Because my partner does happen to be a porn star. Like, how can you see that all the time? And it's like, well, trust.
Yeah, it's trust. And also, you of all people have actually been there, and you know how unsexy it actually is.
Exactly. Like, I also have that job. So it's like, I have both perspectives. Like, I know it's not, most of the time, it's not chemistry and love and feelings and all the stuff you can feel with sex. You can feel with sex, but like, it's different. So it's like, it's about trust and boundaries and knowing your person's going to do the right thing in the moment.
Exactly. As I often like to say, it's like a good male talent. You could be like, go fuck that brick wall. And they're like, I'm going to go fuck that brick wall. No problem.
Yeah,
That's what makes a good male talent.
absolutely.
Like, there's no emotional connection to that brick wall. They were told to go fuck that brick wall. So they're just going to go fuck that brick wall.
And that's it.
Yeah.
It's like a, hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. What do you like to do off camera? Do you have any hobbies? You do the on camera stuff after. Nice to meet you. Have a good day. Maybe I'll follow you on social media.
Right.
That's it. Like, that's all it needs to be. Like, it doesn't.
Can someone get me a water?
Exactly. So nice working with you.
Yep.
Maybe I'll see you again.
Maybe a hug. Like,
yeah, depending.
Yeah.
Maybe a kiss on the cheek, how it went. Like,
Yeah.
that's totally fine. But that's definitely what makes a good male talent, in my opinion.
oh, 100%.
The boundaries are key.
There's a reason I've never, like, my audience has heard this a million times. I've never wanted the job. Like, not once. Before, like, when I was still a civilian, did not want the job. Never once. And more I got into it, like, actually working in the industry, I was like, yep, I was right in that decision. Not built for it. Like, I've had sex in public before, and it's just like, oh, I have failed. Like, having sex in public, it, like, fucking good 15 minutes of pushing rope.
Wait, sorry. Besides the cover, I just learned that term the other day for the first time. It's so funny. Pushing rope.
Yeah.
That is so fucking funny.
It's accurate.
It's so accurate.
So accurate.
But yeah, pushing rope. Yeah. Just whenever someone asks me, they're like, do you think I could be a male talent? How do I get into the industry? I'm like, could you come on your best friend's chest?
Right.
Could you do that? Could you keep an edge while, a bunch of men, when you're definitely not attracted to men, are watching you or have a camera over your shoulder? Could you do that?
Oh, and are very disinterested in what you're doing. They're not encouraging. They're just there.
They're just there. They're not giving you any help.
No.
So-
I've told this story a bunch of times on there, but like one of the days on set for Mind Geek, me and the fucking lighting guy are literally sitting on a couch not less than 10 feet from the scene happening in front of us. And we're both like, man, we got to replace that couch. Like, it is hitting the ground as they're banging. Like, the cushions were so blown out.
Yeah.
Like, we were much more concerned about the couch than the two beautiful people having sex right in front of us.
Right.
None of us care.
Nobody gives a shit. It's like that one meme. I'm sure, like, I mean, if you're on porn Twitter, like, a lot of people have seen it, but it's like that guy eating, I think it's like a burrito or something, and he's like filming it, and he's like taking a bite.
Oh, no, it's a donut.
A donut. It's a donut.
It's a donut. That is Andy Zane feeding a donut to Tommy Pistol.
Yes. I knew it was Tommy Pistol, but I was like, it's a burrito or some.
No, it was Andy Zane feeding a donut to Tommy. And that was, believe it or not, a stage shot. That didn't actually happen. Yep.
Makes sense.
Andy's a friend. He's been on the show, but it's like, yeah, it was staged.
That's hilarious.
And fuck, I know who the female talent is in that scene. And I'm spacing out who it. I feel so bad because we follow each other. Like, whoops.
I'll probably remember later.
I'm sure. I'm sure when there's less alcohol in my system, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's who that was.
That's who that performer was.
But I had a performer I hooked up with recently. Was like, I'm thinking about doing a gangbang. Would you want to be in? I'm like, no, I'm good. She's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, no. I'm. When I say I never wanted the job,
I meant it.
I meant it. Like, I'm happy to hook up with you again hours after that gangbang if you want to do it, but
Like, so solid.
I'm good. I'm really good. I don't think I could do it.
Yeah.
Ah,
Not my cup of tea.
no.
I have a question for you.
You need to pee? Go pee. We are back from bathroom break.
Yes. Takes me a while to pee because of my condition.
I'm the only person who knows the passage of time that happened. I wasn't going to say anything.
No, I was going to.
But now that you brought it up, yeah, that was like 20 minutes.
I know, it was a while. I'm sorry.
I physically felt that I was getting older while you were peeing.
It just kind of like dribbles out. You know, it doesn't, there's not a full stream.
As long as it's not all over the bathroom floor, I don't care.
No, it's in the toilet. You don't have anything to worry about.
I wasn't worried either way.
I figured you were.
Yes, I was standing by the door being like, Stevie, are you okay? Are you dying? It's just like, bloop, bloop, bloop. Like, this is going to take hours at this rate.
That's what I figured, to be honest.
I was timing it. It was actually like
I know it was timed.
300 drops is how it came out.
I feel like I heard it, but I was like blocking it out at the same time. You know?
Oh no, I was sitting there counting. I just like it's like a doorman, like, you know, taking numbers as they come into the club. It's every drop.
You had a timer. What were we talking about?
Oh shit! You expect me to recall that long ago?
We were talking about so much.
That was sometime in 2023 that when you went into the bathroom. Like, it's 2025 now. We missed award season again.
Look, I told you within the first 30 minutes I have a bladder condition, and you're giving me alcohol, so I warned you.
Did I not warn you I was going to give you shit about it?
Fair.
If I didn't, oh, by the way, nothing's sacred here.
I figured.
I've been here for long enough to realize that nothing is fucking sacred here.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, we were just talking about, like, you know, the male talent and all that fun shit, and that it's not an easy job, and set life is actually fucking work.
Yeah, believe it or not. Not as much quote unquote fun as you would think.
No. But I want to actually steer away from that for a moment.
Oh, absolutely. Please do.
You're like, enough talking about work.
Yeah. I can talk about work all the time, but.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, we can talk about other stuff.
Good.
Many opinions.
Good.
Scorpio. Let's talk about it. Whatever.
Okay. So, what are your thoughts on the Pope? No,
Did you see the immediate disappointment? I was like, really? That's your question?
No, I'm not serious about asking you about the fucking Pope. The fuck?
You just paused for a long time, so I didn't know.
I was just trying to think of the most ridiculously thing I could ask you about, and asking your thoughts on the Pope seemed like the most ridiculous thing I could ask you about.
Nothing about the Pope. I hope he doesn't do anything crazy and he doesn't touch children
Anymore.
Like, I don't know.
What tier of altar boy do you have to be get given to the Pope?
I don't know. It depends on what he's attracted to. I don't know if they know that preemptively or.
I mean, I figure once you get to Pope level, this is going to be bad. I feel like you've already been a bishop, a cardinal. Like, you've had your type is well established at that point.
You've had time. I feel like we shouldn't be talking about this.
I didn't mean to. I literally was just asking a question to throw a silly question out.
No, but he does have a type. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it there.
We don't know what it is. We're not here to guess on that.
We're not gonna discuss it. I mean, we could probably figure it out if we really wanted to. But
what are we gonna internet sleuth him and be like? Nah.
I could have been like, I'm telling you, I've told this to my partner multiple times. If I didn't end up being a porn star, I could have been a sleuth. Like, that would have been my job. I can find out anything about anyone.
It's a boring job.
It sounds like so much fun.
I was a PI for a number of years.
Were you really? Uh-huh. Oh my God, I have so many questions.
Yeah, that was my last 9 to 5 before I stopped.
For real?
Mhm.
That's the most interesting 9 to 5, though. I mean, from the outsider's point of view.
Yeah. People would be like, oh, being a porn star is the most interesting 9 to 5. Working in porn. No.
Fair.
No.
It's not. Yeah.
No, this podcast directly started because of my PI work.
Wow.
Because I was doing so much surveillance and like spending most of my day listening to podcasts. At that point, I had already worked in the industry for 7-8 years. 6-7 years at that point, 6-7 years. Forgetting what year I started this podcast. Fuck. But yeah, I've been working in the industry for about 6 years at that point. But my normal 9 to 5 at that point was working as a PI.
Really? Okay, wait. So now I have questions. Like,
Have at.
questions. Because like that's what I always thought I would end up doing if I wasn't a porn star. Because like I like that shit. So like, what is it actually like?
So the way to have consistent work doing it is do insurance fraud work.
Gotcha. You mentioned that. Okay.
The way insurance fraud cases generally go is the first time you're working someone, say like you got injured, you're on a workers' comp case.
Right.
No matter if you're legitimate or not, if the claim is for enough money, the insurance company is going to send somebody out.
Got you.
Because if they can mitigate some of their damages, they will.
Okay.
So at 6 a.m., I will show up to the residence that is on your insurance paperwork.
Okay.
My immediate goal, well, actually, I'm skipping a step. Before I leave my house, I will do a dive on your social media. Okay. I will find your Facebook, especially at the time when I was doing it. You could still type someone's number into the search bar on Facebook and get their Facebook account that was tied to that phone number.
Okay.
So do a dive on their social media, see what they're like ratting on themselves about.
Makes sense.
Like, oh, you have a back injury? Man, that's a bunch of ski trip vacation that you just took.
Right.
While you're out injured. Good.
Like,
Pass that on to the insurance company. Try to find pictures of like what vehicles they drive, shit like that.
Got you. Okay.
And then you be at their house the first day at 6 a.m. Your job is to identify any vehicles that are registered to them.
Okay.
And then within the first 4 hours, you have to get activity. Like you have to see them, prove that they're home. If not, most of the time the insurance company will be like, we're going to save hours and send you home. So around the 3.5 hour mark, you have to do something that we would like refer to as a pretext. Like, oh, I have to knock on their door. And like, hi, I'm really sorry to bother you. My dog got off its leash.
Wow.
This is a picture. Like I had a picture of my buddy's dog in my phone.
Right.
This is my buddy. This is my bulldog Jack. He got away. I live just a random address a couple blocks over. Have you happened to see my dog? And of course they'd tell you no. And then be like, oh, I'm Mike. And then they generally give their name.
Okay.
Like, oh, good to meet you, man. Like, and give them a fake number. Like, because they're not going to call it. Like,
right.
They're not going to find the dog. The dog doesn't exist. So you give them a fake, a prep number. Like, oh, if you see the dog, could you just call me at this number?
Wow.
And then you fucking knock on a couple doors of the neighbors just to make, like, in case they're paying attention.
Right.
To keep the lie up. And then you get back to your car and get back on your surveillance post.
Wow.
And then if they happen to leave, you follow them to wherever the fuck they're going. Gym, groceries, whatever. And then the whole goal is to film them out and about. Like if you have a back injury or you can only lift so many pounds, I'm trying to present evidence that you are violating those restrictions.
Right. That makes sense.
And then you stay with them till they go back home. Then you sit on their house for another hour to make sure they don't leave again. Then you go home, you write up a report, repeat process the following day.
Okay, so I'm curious, how many instances do you need to have before you can be like, they're lying?
I mean, it's not my job to judge that.
Oh, it's someone else's.
Right. I just publish my reports and give my opinion and pass it on to an insurance adjuster. Got
you. Okay.
Most of the time, I never actually had to go testify in court once. Like the one time I was set to go testify in court, they settled out of court. They're like, they realized that we had got them so dirty that There was no fight in it.
Right. Like there's no way out of that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And as I said, because you spend hours a day just sitting in your car staring at someone's house.
Like it's not that like what you think it is.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's really uncomfortable. It's because you can't run the AC on your car. Like a quote empty car just sitting there running. People are gonna like, what the fuck's up with that?
Right.
Because the car, I have limo tints in the back. So you just jump in the back seat and you put up like the sun blocker in the windshield. And then you just film through the limo tints at people.
Okay. Maybe it's not as fun as I expected.
It's a very boring and exciting job at the same time.
Yeah. Like I can imagine when like you catch someone in like a quote unquote lie. Like it's exciting. It's like, oh, I caught you doing XYZ. Like,
well, it's also like you sit there for 5 hours and then all of a sudden they come out of their house like, oh fuck, it's on.
Yeah, we're doing it. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
Like, I have to go from like just sitting here listening to podcasts to like jumping in my front seat with like there's an art to it because tailing people isn't like the movies.
Right.
If you stay on someone too close, they're gonna make you. But if you give anyone too much distance, you'll get caught in a red and they're just gone.
Right.
You don't know where this person's going unless you've worked them before and like you have an idea of their patterns. But when you're first working them, you have no fucking idea where this person's going.
Right.
Like you can basically, if you lose someone, you have an hour to regain them. So it's like you canvass fucking local grocery stores and other places where they could possibly be for that hour. But if you can't, you're done.
Yeah, you just have to like at that point, do you like go back to their house or just go like back to the office or wherever you're stationed or wherever?
You just go home. Yeah.
Just go home.
Yep. After that hour, like you just go home. Like you'll obviously cruise back by their place to make sure, see if their car's back.
Did you ever, I'm curious, did you ever have someone, because I know you were doing like you were insurance fraud, right? Like, did you ever have someone try to hire you for like something else, like catch a cheating spouse or?
I've done a couple like
that.
I had a spouse cheating on his alimony. Like he wasn't the breadwinner. So when they were divorcing,
Gotcha.
he was getting the alimony payments, but he was working under the table.
Oh, okay.
Caught him working.
Sketchy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you caught him then.
Yeah. It was a wild because sometimes people legitimately get violent, like try to get violent because of.
Oh, I can imagine.
Especially because they don't know. Sometimes they don't really realize why you're following them.
Right.
Like it was a boring and exciting job. I did it for 3 years from 2015 to 2018.
Wow. Because I always thought like if I'm not doing like, so I've always loved technology. So like I worked for Sony for a long time. I worked for TikTok. Verizon was the one I hated for obvious reasons.
Right.
But like I worked a lot of call center jobs, but they were also a lot of fun because they were like things I enjoyed, like social media and games and shit. I always thought I would be really good at like doing PI work because I can find information if I want to. So I'm like, I'll dig your brain about that.
Yeah.
If I weren't a porn star, like would that have worked out? But I probably would end up being bored with it.
It's super boring and exciting at the same time.
Yeah.
As I said, like when I first started on the job, I was listening to a lot of like audiobooks.
Mm-hmm.
But since you still got to pay attention to what's going on around you, I'd lose where I was in the audiobook.
Right.
So I really got into podcasts because it's like if fucking, a comedian, you miss fucking a little bit of.
Or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Like you can just pick up wherever.
Right.
Like,
The conversation, if you lose 5 minutes of this episode, you're not losing the whole episode. I promise you.
Yeah. Like you can go back, you can whatever, pick up wherever you want to. Yeah.
I don't regret doing it. I'm glad I didn't make a fucking full-on career out of it.
Makes sense.
It's interesting. And like, it is a satisfying feeling when you're just like, I outsmarted you.
I caught you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely outsmarted you. Because I don't know. I'm pretty sure my audience is aware of this, but like someone hit and run and totaled my parked car back in May.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It worked out all right. But Los Angeles has a 1% clearance rate for hit and runs with injuries. Hit and runs with no injuries, they do not touch.
Yeah.
Unless you provide evidence, The police department literally goes, yeah, we're not. It just goes in a pile. Poor bastard had the misfortune of hitting my car. I definitely got paid.
Yeah.
I had his plates in under 24 hours.
Oh man, I wish I had you when I had my car accident.
What happened?
So I actually, within the first 2 months of living here, I have never been in a car accident at this point. I got into a car accident. Some guy was not paying attention. We were on the freeway, and he essentially pushed me into a guardrail.
Oh,
He
shit.
just tried to get over. He just tried to get over, and I was there. And me being who I am, I panicked and like didn't back up or go forward or anything. I just stayed there and just like went over. So like I ended up like having to pay for all of the damages and everything. He didn't
stop, of course.
He didn't stop. He said it was my fault because I didn't move, and the insurance company believed him. So
of course they did.
Yeah, but like me being who I am, I'm very passive, and I can be passive about certain things. Now
you don't say.
Yeah, not anymore, but like certain things, I can still be pretty pushovery.
I mean, it's a rough situation. Like,
yeah, like I didn't know how to get out of my car and be like, you fucked my car up. Like, you pushed me into a guardrail. Like, this is not cool. Like, I didn't know how to fight that. So like I ended up like eating most of the cost, but wish I had you there at that time.
Well, if it ever comes up again.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't.
Hopefully it doesn't. Yeah, that would suck. That was the only car accident I've ever been in, and it was in LA, and I lived in Vegas for most of my life, so that's saying something.
Really bad for fucking really bad.
Yeah.
When I first left Chicago, I actually moved to Vegas, so.
Funny.
Yeah, I legally lived in Vegas from 2011 to 2014, so.
Where did you live?
Summerlin. Like Buffalo and Lake Mead.
I know exactly where that is.
I was really thrilled. I picked my apartment at random. Like all the industry people I knew that convinced me to move to the West Coast lived in Summerlin too. So that's how I ended up there. And I was really thrilled that like, oh, there's a Chicago style hot dog stand a block from my apartment. Fuck yeah.
This is perfect.
Yeah, like Windy City Beef and Dogs is next to my apartment. I have a taste of home. Awesome.
I think I know exactly where that is.
It's a shopping center with the Vaughns on Lake Mead.
Yep.
I lived in an apartment complex directly north of it.
That's crazy. Like anytime I know someone who like knows Vegas outside of the strip or like the surrounding of the strip, I'm like, I feel you. Like you're like family. It's like you understand like what it's like there. Because it's like more than the strip. It's like
It's very suburban.
Suburban. Yeah.
That's honestly one of the things I disliked about living there. It was like,
me too.
This is way too suburban for my taste. Coming from Chicago, it was way too suburban. And in 2011 and such, the industry was not nearly as there as it is now.
Right.
And the majority of the industry that was there were older, established performers with families and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still very much like a drunken party animal at that point. So I was just like, oh, I can't. Like, occasionally we can go out and go fucking get wild, but you all have kids and responsibilities and.
Like, you can't be doing this all the time.
Right. Well, and they weren't doing it all the time. Like, they're being good parents and shit.
Right.
Like, I'm like, but I want to go out and, like, go to the Double Down and.
Yeah, like, I want to experience the Vegas Strip and I want to have fun.
No.
And...
I've been to Vegas a number of times as an adult and gone to the Strip. I'm like, no. I want to go to the Double Down. I used to drink at, like, Steiner's up in Summerlin and.
Oh, man. You know all the spots.
Yeah. My first week in town, used to drink at a place called the Bounty Hunter.
Where is that?
I don't think it exists anymore, but it was like Warm Springs and like it.
Sounds really familiar.
I was very happy because I was very broke when I moved to Vegas and like won $400 in a Keno machine like at the bar my first week in town. I'm like, someone's looking out for me on this one. Fuck,
Yeah.
I need this money.
You're like, I really need this. I've like, funny enough, like I never got into like gambling or clubbing or anything like that when I lived in Vegas, and I lived there for like obviously most of my life.
Honestly, I feel like unless you're a club promoter, which half people in Vegas become, it's not really. Most people aren't actually into clubbing there.
Yeah.
That's just for tourists. And I hope it would be better growing up there, but like as someone who moved there as an adult, I felt it was a rough town to meet new people in.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, personally, so like at heart, I'm a huge introvert. Like
I can tell.
yeah, like I stay at home. Like I play video games.
You invite dudes to your house. You're like, I don't want to leave my comfort zone on first dates.
Like yeah, like don't take me to dinner. Like come over here, let's order food.
Like, I don't want to leave my house.
Yeah, and that like carried over into my adult life for sure. But like I never did that Vegas thing. It was not me.
Wait, was the dude who just dropped his pants in Vegas?
Yes.
Oh, that makes so much more sense now.
Yes. Like also the bicycle guy though.
That makes a lot less sense living in Vegas.
I know though, like because he was a vegan and he like didn't have a car and like he had a nice little cute dog. Like that one didn't make as much sense.
No, you'll die riding a bicycle in Vegas. You will die.
And he lived downtown in Fremont. Make that make even more sense. I don't know.
0 sense to me. Zero sense to me. Does not compute. Like that dude was like, oh, that dude you met in Big Bear or some shit. Like
no.
That guy like feels like it would fit right in where you're currently living, right?
Exactly. But no, he was in Vegas.
That's wild to me.
Downtown Fremont, Vegas.
What year was this?
2017, 2018.
Okay, well, at least, it was gentrified Fremont.
Yeah, like it was nicer Fremont, for sure.
I mean, to the...
Like artsy Fremont.
Yeah. Like when I moved there in 2011, they were still gentrifying Fremont.
Fair.
And when my very first time in Vegas was like 2004, and I mostly hung out in Fremont in 2004, and that was...
rough.
That was fun. It was so much fun.
I'm like rough. You're like, it was fun.
Oh yeah, because like my very first trip to Vegas, like I was doing armed security for a living, and I went with 2 fucking coworkers.
Okay.
So you just have like 3 security dudes, like just getting drunk and rowdy.
Yeah.
On Fremont, and it's just like it was a good time. It was a shit show. It was a good time, but
wait, how old are you?
I'm 43 now.
You're 43?
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't seem 43.
I'm wildly immature.
I just feel like my like view on age has changed rapidly since I've been in the sex industry. Because
like, LA's Neverland. That's why I live here.
You don't like everybody doesn't look their age. I'm like, dude, like I mean, if you look at me, you're like, you're 20. I'm like, baby, I'm almost 30. Like, what are you talking about?
I don't know. Like, I feel like my body weight and gray hairs give it away, but
I just like it's so hard to guess nowadays.
But yeah, no, I just turned 43 a week and a half ago.
Happy late birthday.
Well, thank you.
Wait, what does that make you? What's your zodiac?
Aquarius.
Aquarius.
Yeah.
My brother's an Aquarius. That's why we get along. Makes sense.
But yeah, I never got into Vegas. Like I just I never felt it. Like, and in the recent years, I almost moved back just because of price point and like
price point. Yeah, it is cheaper.
Well, it's one of those things where, like I could get a whole on house with a pool for what I paid for this apartment.
Yeah.
And there's enough industry there now that I could actually do this there.
Oh, absolutely.
Some of my oldest friends in the industry are still there. Some of my oldest friends that I met in the industry who have been out for a long time are still there, like with their families doing other shit.
Right.
And like those people are definitely important to me because it's like longer you're in the industry, you will just see people come and go.
I can imagine.
Like the turnover is still
the turnover rate is crazy.
It's ridiculously bad.
Oh my God.
And to think that like I have over decade long friendship with some of these people, like it's like, no, these people matter to me. So like what I took for granted when I moved there in 2011, that they have families and they're stable and shit like that, wouldn't be bad to be like, oh yeah, no, I'm back around that. Like, I am slightly less of a shit show than I was at that point.
Right. I think for me, I am jaded because like up until recently, because I've only been in LA for like 2 years, I was there since I was 7. So I'm like, I am so jaded to the Vegas community and everything surrounding it.
Oh, I don't want to go back. I just said I could. Those are the reasons
Like
I'm considering.
like possibly, maybe.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And there's also a part of my ego that's like, oh, I feel like if I go back to Vegas, it's a step backwards.
Right, and that makes sense. 'Cause like I moved out to Los Angeles, well, I mean, partly for my partner and because of the work, because like it's more accessible here.
Oh yeah.
So it's like I totally get that viewpoint.
Well, and on top of it, in recent years, I've begun to refer to Vegas as America's wax museum. Vegas bills itself as the entertainment capital of the world.
They really do.
It's
Yeah.
not. It is the wax museum of the entertainment capital of the world. Everyone who performs in Vegas, they are performing the most refined set that they are going to do. If it's music, comedy, anything. No one is trying anything new when they bring their act to Vegas. No one is trying anything raw.
That's absolutely true. I feel like that's more true here. Like you have a lot of new people trying new things and trying to make things come together here than you do Vegas.
100%. Like, even very established artists are trying new things here in LA.
Right.
That no one is ever experimenting when they bring their act to Vegas. It is always just like, if you go to see any of the residencies, you may love that artist. It is going to be the same fucking show every fucking night. It's a fucking wax museum. You go to fucking Madame Tussauds, every time you go there, it's the same fucking figures.
Same shit.
Right.
Every time.
You go to the Comedy Store tonight, you may see the same person who you've seen 100 times, but they may be trying out new shit because that is the nature of the LA comedy clubs.
Right.
If a musical act is playing here, they're often trying out their new set before they go on a tour, and often playing a small venue like the Whiskey or the Viper. They're not doing that in Vegas.
No, it's refined. It's
Exactly.
like perfected. Like it's nothing about it is going to be different.
Right. Because tourists are paying for that perfection.
Right.
Where here in LA, people are actually trying to fucking create art.
Like I've never thought about it that way. It's like so I moved to LA, and within the first year, I think I got kind of scared of the chaos. I was like, it's different from Vegas in the way that Vegas is like, it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's like stuck on the strip. Like the strip is the chaos.
Yeah.
And when you leave the strip, it's suburbs. That's all you get for the most part, right?
You effectively get dorms for the people who work on the strip.
Exactly, right. So like I was used to that, and when I moved to LA, I'm like, it's chaos everywhere. Like you can't get away from it. Like you can go into your home and you're away from it, but the moment you leave, it's there. Like I think I got very scared of that, so I moved to Big Bear with my partner. I'm like, we need like a place away from it, like a far away place. And like now we've had that, and I'm like, I kind of see LA at this point for like what it is. Like it's not a bad thing. You kind of just have to like accept it in a way.
You do. You have to embrace the chaos.
You have to embrace it. And like I think I was fighting it for a little bit. I'm like, I need it to just be a job and then go away from it. When it's just like that's just the nature of it.
What I tell anyone who's like, oh, I don't like LA, you haven't found your neighborhood.
Ooh.
This is very much a city of neighborhoods. And
definitely.
so many neighborhoods have different feelings. You just have to find the neighborhood that clicks with you.
Absolutely.
Like, I love Hollywood. I've been in Hollywood for 10 years now. And I wouldn't want to live in any other neighborhood in the city. And I pay through the fucking nose for it.
Curious of what you pay for this.
Not as much as you'd think for as nice as the apartment this is.
How long have you been living in this spot?
8 years.
Okay. So you're kind of,
Oh, I'm not rent controlled at all.
no, you're
No.
not?
Nope.
Does it go up every year?
Mhm.
Cool, honey.
Negotiations. A lot of negotiations every year.
Okay, you can negotiate. That's good. though.
Everything's negotiable.
Yeah.
Like, if a landlord makes you an offer on what your rent's going up, that's an offer.
Yeah.
You have very, very much the ability to be like, I don't think I want to pay that.
No. I have to remember that. 'Cause I always feel like it's like it's set in stone. Like,
No, that's an offer letter.
got you. Okay. I'm gonna have to remember that.
And that is the thing that, like, I wish my parents had fucking told me, because no one ever told me that until I was I figured that out on my own as an adult.
Right.
Like, no. When your landlord says, oh, your lease is up for renewal, this is what it's going to be next year, that's an offer. That's a negotiation, because my counteroffer is you make no money and I go somewhere else.
Right. Like,
So
you lose a tenant.
Right.
Or you agree to what I want.
Or we come, well, like most things, you meet in the middle somewhere.
You meet in the middle. Yeah.
A successful negotiation means neither side is particularly happy with the outcome.
Right. I'm gonna have to remember that. If we decide to live in Big Bear again, because like we've been going back and forth about it, because we live in Big Bear currently.
How long is the commute?
Depends on the day. Sometimes it's just 2 hours. Sometimes it's 3.5.
Yeah, that you might as well live in Vegas at that point. Shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's not much further than living in Vegas.
Just like the peace of mind is so, like, it's more to me, you know? Like the LA lifestyle became too much.
What about the LA lifestyle was becoming too much?
Like, I guess the people I was surrounding myself with at the time was just like the party atmosphere and the porn star atmosphere, which can become a bit much, which is like partying and socializing and, you know, drugs. If I'm being honest, like, and I'm not that type of person. Like, I don't dabble in a lot of that. So,
Well, and it's hard to say no when all your peers are fucking, doing it. Like, I 100%. Like, I don't do powders. Like, I don't fuck with them.
right, and I don't either. Like, I've never touched them. Like, the farthest I've ever gone, like, blatantly, is weed. I've never done it anymore for me, and like I've also, of course, drink alcohol. But
in my humble opinion, hallucinogens are fun.
They can be. Well, I mean, I can be fully honest. Like, I've done mushrooms before.
They're fun. They're good times.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like, with the right crowd, it's a lot of fun.
I do them by myself sometimes. So,
I mean, even that's like right crowd.
As someone who's a self-admitted introvert, legitimately taking a macro dose and putting on some movies or cartoons you want to watch, I view it as a mini vacation sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's just like turning off my fucking phone, gonna trip, I'm gonna watch some shit I want to watch, and tune out everything else.
And that's it. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, no, I'm a big proponent of it.
And like, I'm the same way. And I think it's just, for me, like, that more of the social atmosphere got a little bit much for me. So I'm like, I need a separation from that. Like, I need to be able to come down, do the work thing, do the convention thing, do the social thing, and then separate it.
So you need a good excuse for why you're not at the party.
Exactly. Like, I need to know that my home is 2 hours away and my dogs are 2 hours away and, my life is 2 hours away. Like, I need to have that separation and not have a reason to stay an extra 2 hours. Like, it needs to be something more for me.
I think you just need to be able to tell people no more.
Like, it comes back to that. Like, if you think back, like, really, like, I am, it's hard for me to tell people no. So, like, I need to be able to have a little bit of an excuse. Like, I need to go. I have, like, something to do.
If people are really your friends,
they'll understand that.
Yeah. The minute you say, hey, I need to go, I need to check out. Yeah. That's it. Like, that's the end of the discussion.
And I definitely do have those sorts of friends. It's just, I feel like this is a whole nother conversation, but like the surface level friends, per se, like work friends, like in the industry, don't quite get that.
Man, that sounds like their problem.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's just like, just tell them like, hey, I gotta go. I gotta go.
I got responsibilities.
You don't have to tell them why. Like, hey, it was great seeing you. I gotta go. That's simple.
I need to implement that.
As someone who's been around as long as I have, the real friends stay. The fake friends will be gone. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
they will either be out of the industry or you'll just be pleasant when you see each other at fucking social events. And those people don't actually fucking matter.
Very true.
It's a two-way street. If someone actually matters, they will make effort to be in your life and you'll make effort to be in theirs. And if they're putting you in an uncomfortable situation where you're like, I don't feel comfortable telling them no, I want to go home. Is that a real friend?
No.
Right.
Definitely not.
Also, I'm a giant hypocrite. I very regularly pressure my friends to like, no, you should still hang out. I very much do, but I never take it personally when people are like, no, dude, I got to go home.
Yeah, like I really have to leave.
Yeah. My birthday party, one of my dear friends like came out for dinner with us before the party. I'm like, come on, man, just come to the party, do a couple shots, you'll be fine. He's like, dude, I got to work tomorrow. I'm like, I know, but that's a future problem. Just come hang for a little bit. I'm like, he's like, no, I'm gonna go home. I'm like, all right, fine. I'm like, there's no animosity for me on that. That's just me being me.
Like being a genuine friend.
Yeah. Well, no, this is me being an ass and being like, no, I want you to come party. Like, I want you to come party with me. Like, this would make me happy. I know this is wildly irresponsible for you to do. And I don't feel bad if you like, I don't feel any less of you. I don't feel bad if you're like, no, asshole, I have to work tomorrow.
Yeah, like I have responsibilities. I have to go.
Yeah, I understand that.
Good point.
So
I'm just a shy bean. Speaking of, I have to pee.
Well, actually, because we were actually about that time.
Okay.
Why don't we call last call on this motherfucker? Actually wrap it. So,
Absolutely.
while you spend another year in my restroom, like the clock is not still running.
Okay.
Stevie, it was an absolute pleasure. Before we get you out of here, where can they find you on the things?
So I am on most social media platforms. On Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever you call it, at Stevie Moon X. Also, of course, on OnlyFans and many vids on all those social medias at the same place. So Stevie Moon X. But yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
My pleasure to have you on. We will definitely do this again in the future.
Definitely.
So lucky to make the drive. He can come do the show too.
I will bring him here.
Awesome. Well, until next week, drink up, motherfuckers.
Bye.